Welcome to the 2026 Patriots Unfiltered Draft Show.
The New England Patriots select.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered, our special draft extravaganza. It's day 3 of the NFL draft, and it's Fred Kurtz, Paul Perillo, Evan Lazar, Mike Dussault will be here for the next 2 hours.
At least.
Breaking down what's going on.
At most.
So Patriots made 3 picks yesterday. We'll go over them again.
2 picks.
Right now, the NFL draft is getting down to the end of the 4th round. I think there's 2 more picks left in the 4th round, and then we're on to the 5th.
Yeah, correct.
Where the Patriots have a couple picks, right?
Just
one.
171.
We are at pick
171.
right now. We're at pick 139. The Patriots will next scheduled to select at 171.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah,
They still have 3 6-round picks.
Yep.
yeah, 171, 191, 198. They should happen pretty quick. I mean, 171.
Let's package those 3 6s to get up in the 5th. We'll go two fifth rounders.
Well, I was looking at it last night, the trade value chart, as one does, and
well, as Evan does.
trying to figure
Just
out
make sure it all added up. You know,
if they did want to get
Double
rid
check.
of these 6-round picks, dump the picks, as they say, then maybe they if they did package 2 of their 6-round picks with their 5th-round pick, they could have gotten back into the 4th round. So one of their 6-round picks would get them to the top of the 5th, maybe the very last pick of the 4th, top of the 5th, right in this range. So if they were interested in trading up, they could do it right now. So stay tuned.
Okay.
That would be great. Because right now it feels like you're watching the parade go by a little bit. Guys going off the big board.
Definitely,
a lot of good players.
Definitely
going.
feels like this is a top 150 kind of draft. Like, once you get outside of the top 150 picks, normally it starts to really fall off a cliff. But in a draft like this, I'd say it falls even harder.
One of my back of the envelope guys went.
Yeah.
The Bills took Jude Bowery,
Yeah.
the lineman from BC.
Should have been a little closer to the front of the envelope. Then
Now
maybe,
you do
fourth
you
round.
do expect your back of the envelope guys to all get drafted, right?
Not
Oh,
necessarily.
this is my favorite name of the draft.
Ephesians Prysock.
Yes.
I liked him.
I was thinking a name. I should have named TJ.
Tall,
Ephesians.
lanky.
And this is a
good
reading from the
movement
book of
skill.
Ephesians.
right. It's very biblical.
But you do
Kids
expect
got
all your
drafted
back of the
because we're
envelope
making
guys to
fun
get
of
picked,
No,
right?
I don't. I don't think they all will.
Oh,
No. My 2
well,
wide
unless,
receivers.
except for the guys that have
Yeah,
red
they have the
flags.
red flags.
They might not get.
Jack Velling could be an undrafted free agent,
Oh,
as
okay.
well as Xavier Surrey Jr.
Well, I mean, you're here today, Fred, so maybe you can make some calls if he doesn't get drafted. Try to talk him to
Try to
come,
help
come
him
to New
out.
I
England.
need some help. That was one of the
Come
things
to
that
New England.
Elliot Wolf talked about last night, where they might miss Mike Vrabel's presence is
Bring
as a
in
recruiter,
Kirsch.
right?
That's
With the
true.
UDFA's, Fred. I think there's an opportunity
Yeah,
there.
but all kidding aside, that was interesting that Elliott said that would be missed.
I did think that was interesting. That was one of the things that I thought. Usually like the board's kind of set. I would assume that they can kind of pull the trigger, but Mike Vrabel's a great salesman, and you hear all the players they've already selected respond to him on the phone. I love what Lomu had to say about getting to meet him, and he's a little aggressive, kind of staying off him. So that is something I think that could hurt a little bit, but
yeah.
I mean, look at Elijah Ponder. They got him as an undrafted rookie last year, and he contributed a lot as a rookie.
All right, so you've had a night to sleep on it.
I didn't really sleep, Fred. I'm gonna be honest. That coffee right before the show last night.
tried
I'm
to
up all
warn
night.
you.
I know. I was like, I'm gonna
ready
regret
for you,
this.
Fred. What do you need today?
I'm still ready though.
Your day after assessment of the first 3 picks
Yeah.
for the New England Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like about Raritan. I mean, I think there's a lot comparable to Lomu in that there is some raw ability there, but the athleticism again, and I always going back to that, but they've been drafting a lot of really athletic guys. Good size, good length. I was actually talking to Brian Hoyer. We're having a Patriots event here, watch party, bunch of pups. If you're around the area, get down there. A lot of cute little dogs running around. But Brian Hoyer really liked the pick. He was telling me that he thinks he's going to fit Josh McDaniels' offense really well, but probably needs to get a little stronger. Continue to continue to grow. Oh, Colby Young, is that what you're saying? Going. So yeah, I like it. I'm excited to see him come, and it's exactly the kind
that's
of
my guy.
Yeah, there you go.
Not to us. Could you see the wheels turning?
I could.
another
Evan
one.
points to the screen, says another one of Fred's guys, and Fred looks, and you see him thinking, "Is that one of my guys?" looks at his envelope. He actually has a back of the envelope. It's not like a metaphor. It actually is on the back of the envelope.
It's a real thing.
And then it clicked. Oh, that's one of my guys.
I remember all of the guys he said. It's one of my favorite parts of the draft is hearing what you guys think. Like I spend way too much time on this, so I'm interested to hear what
So
you
I just do a back of the envelope, and I'm more accurate than you are.
100%. You nailed
I'm
it.
only kidding.
Yeah.
No, you nailed it.
But I'm excited to see Raritan come into here and see how he fits in. Wanted that third tight end. He can learn under Hunter Henry, but I think he's got size. He's got big hands, and I think that could be a potential weapon in the red
gem.
zone.
He could be the hidden gem of this draft for the Patriots.
Yeah,
I think what you're optimistic about with him, because I know a lot of people go back to the injuries and the tear and then re-tear of the same ACL, but that happened in 2021 and 2022. You know, he played 28 straight games at Notre Dame without getting hurt. So hopefully the injuries are in his rearview mirror and he's beyond that now as a player. And obviously he had the breakout season last year, you know, at Notre Dame. So I maybe I would have picked different guys in certain spots than they did, but there were so many different conversations of going tackle, edge, tight end with their first 3 picks. Felt like every mock draft you saw was that combination in some order, way, shape, or form. So they kind of, in that respect, went chalk and sort of did what we all wanted them to do and expected them to do. You know, they took Raritan, you know, at the end of the 3rd round. Maybe I would have taken Endries from Texas, but they took Raritan, and like they probably will end up being right about it. You know, he's probably will be a better player. So I think in a lot of different cases, they did sort of. You can't be mad at them at all.
Kind of like chalk.
Yeah, because they did what we all wanted and expected, and what they were saying all offseason were the priorities, and they went out and they attacked them.
So if the A.J. Brown thing didn't seem to be so likely, do you think one of those 3 might have been a wide receiver on more mock drafts as we got closer to the draft?
Maybe, sure. I think we crossed wide receiver, maybe not entirely off the list, but I would say the first 2 days I crossed it off the list, assuming it's going to be A.J. Brown. But keep going back to the point that they have 3 guys that are up for contract next year. Talking about Booty, they do need some other guys in the pipeline. So I wouldn't be surprised here if the right guy falls through the cracks. I mean, everybody's saying how bad this draft is. Is there really going to be much of a market for the undrafted guys? I'd assume that these 6th and 7th round picks are essentially going to be the guys who are usually that quality of player, undrafted
If you
free
listen
agents.
to the experts, that a lot of them have said stuff like that. Day 3 is going to be a struggle comparatively. Now, there's going to be good players that get taken today.
Yeah.
There always are. There always are guys, you know, like Puka Nacua that, you know, no one's really paying attention to, and all of a sudden 3 years from now, you go like, imagine they got that guy in the 5th round or whatever. You know, there's
absolutely.
always always hidden guys. I'm curious on Raritan. Is it Raritan or is it just Reardon? So like, how do we
think it's
pronounce
Raritan.
this? Raritan?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not ready to just say he's a 3rd tight end. I'm wondering if they're gonna use 2 tight end sets.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to have Hill out there with Hunter Henry. I think it makes more sense to have this guy out there with Hunter Henry and have 2 guys that the defense has to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like tight end is typically one of the slower developing positions from college to the NFL.
That is true.
Notre Dame is a good tight end factory, and maybe their guys are a little bit more pro ready than the average college tight end or college prospect, but most of the time, tight end is a slower burn when it comes to development.
No, you're right about that.
So, like,
Absolutely.
I think that Raritan has a potential to have an impact because of his vertical field stretching ability. That's an element that Henry and Hill, at this stage of Henry's career, he's not bringing the down the field threat that Raritan can bring. So, you know, maybe he's one of those guys that, just like he did last year in college, you know, he only had 32 catches, but they went for 15 yards a catch.
Which, you know, I like.
Right. So, you know, maybe he's only has 20 catches as a rookie, but he is able to break off some big plays and make an impact that way. I would just temper expectations that he's going to step in and have like this huge role.
No.
Because that doesn't really usually happen at tight end unless you draft a guy like Tyler Warren or something like that in the first round.
I wouldn't expect that. I'm just looking ahead to some specific things that they did with Hooper and and Henry, and I think that he can, because I don't think Hooper had a huge role last year.
No.
But
Couple touchdowns.
yeah, a couple big plays like Evan just talked about.
Yeah.
And, I think maybe this guy has the ability to do that. He's right. Evan's right about, I mean, even with Gronk and Hernandez, it took Gronk a little bit, We're talking about one of the best, if not the best, to ever do it. It took him a little while to get his feet wet. But it's usually balancing the dual responsibilities, because you're almost like you're almost like a sixth offensive lineman, and you're, like the fourth receiver. At the same time.
That's exactly what it is.
And that's what makes that transition a little more difficult.
Right. Well, that's what makes me excited about him, because I had kind of made peace with a guy like Delp, where maybe he's never gonna be that guy, and that's okay. That you can find a role for that guy, but the potential of Raritan, I went back to my notes of what I wrote about him, and I felt like he had the desire to block. I think he's maybe a better blocker than some people are giving him credit for, but I think he can also get stronger and tougher, and to develop an all-around tight end like that. And you've got the balance in front of him between Hill and Henry that you don't have to do anything
definitely
with
an
him.
intriguing potential
But you can,
pick.
and it's exactly what I wanted of. We can, Josh. That's what I said to Hoyer. I'm like, Josh can kind of play with this kid a little bit. There's no pressure on him to have to come in and look, we're gonna let you play, but you better make sure you're blocking well. If there's not that, it's hey, this is gonna be a package for you. We feel like we can take advantage of your size down the seam, and just the catch radius, the size of the hands. That I've been saying it all spring. Appealing to me with Drake May, who Drake May likes to throw to.
That's my favorite part about him as a player. Like, you have nearly 11-inch hands, an 80-inch wingspan. He's 6'6". He's
all of 6'6".
He's all of 6'6". He's a seam runner. He runs a lot of deep crossing routes.
Yep.
He runs a lot of post corner type concepts, and he's just a big target. He's a big target, and you can just see in your eye, you can just see Drake May just kind of putting it on a platter for him and letting him use his size and be a nice big friendly target for him between the numbers. But I look at it as this year, ideally, like, you get a few big plays out of him, like I was talking about earlier, with his speed and with his ability to stretch the field vertically. But really, you're drafting him because Hunter Henry's 31 years old, and you want a developmental player at that position. You want to add somebody into the pipeline. With Akis, I think Akis is going to push for playing time right away. Like, I think Akis has a chance. For
sure.
And I love Harold Landry. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I think Akis has a chance to surpass Harold Landry immediately, quickly.
I agree.
As a rookie. That pick, Lamu and Raritan feel more like long-term development plays, which is what the draft is for. Akis feels like the guy that is going to make the biggest impact on the
and maybe they can
Patriots.
sort of transition Landry to, like we talk a lot about Morgan Moses. They have a plan for him. Landry's coming off an injury. Maybe that's the plan.
Same thing. Get him a bunch of reps in camp.
Make him more of a part-time player, and let Akis and Draymond Jones be the the every down edge setting physical bull rush types as opposed to the speed rush types. I mean, it's a lot to ask for a rookie second-round pick. I'm not putting the cart before the horse, but potentially I could see something like that. And what I really like about the offense, when you're talking about all this stuff, you guys, is these are some of the little chess pieces, like you said, Mike, that Josh can use with a kid like this. And then you can go power with what they did in the offseason, with a guy like Vera Tucker, up front, in front of Reggie Gilliam and Julian Hill.
Yep.
When you want to,
you've got your different
Mike
packages.
talked to you guys at the combine about wanting to be more physical, wanting to be more consistent running the ball. We got to get stronger. Right. That's what he said to you guys. So now they have the opportunity to do that.
I've heard in the past, though, that sometimes it's hard to do that for linemen. It's like the game plan's either we're going to fire out and be running today, or we're not. And it's tough to make that transition within the game. Because it's a different mindset.
I could see that.
Well, we'll see. I also I was looking back at their rankings in the red zone last year. I mean, they peaked kind of around the middle of the league, but basically they were below average. I mean, by Baltimore, they're 26th in the league in red zone offense. So I mean, I wonder if Raritan can help that number two, because that's a place that I don't think they were good
hole
enough.
In his profile that I as I've dug deeper into the tape, in the last 12 hours, he only had 3 career touchdowns at Notre Dame. He had 0 last year. It was in his big season, and I was was it usage? Was it They just didn't feature him in the red zone. Obviously, they had those 2 running backs, and they kind of just ran the ball in a lot of the time, Jeremiah Love and Price. But I was just looking at that, and I thought that was weird. Like this 6'6", big tight end, pass catching tight end with this huge catch radius and big hands, and like you'd think that would be a mismatch kind of piece that you could use in the red zone, and they didn't really use him.
Interesting.
And that, but not that he wasn't on the field, but it just wasn't. He wasn't a featured red zone target. So maybe there's untapped potential there.
Yeah.
Maybe there's more there that Notre Dame didn't do with him. That's part of the translation. I would say the college game from a passing standpoint with receivers and tight end is very different than the pro style game. And they don't really feature the tight end in college as like a mismatch weapon like they do in the pros. They don't move them around as much. They don't hunt matchups as much with those guys. I would say Notre Dame does it more than the average school in college, but for the most part, that's not what you're really trying to get out of that position.
Back to Akis. What did you think about how emotional he was in his call when he talked to Vrabel and the owner? And
I love it.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me. Like you just hear so much about his violence and his physicality, and you don't play like that if you're without emotion, right? Like
passion.
I feel like those two things go hand in hand. He was a captain at Illinois, like a real leader of that program, and I feel like you can't be running through guys' faces like he does if you don't have that sort of attitude about you. So I mean, him and Mike Vrabel are like kindred spirits.
He just seemed like really grateful to have been taken.
Yeah.
And now that he's been taken, like he said, you're gonna get everything I can give from day one.
Send me the playbook. Send me the playbook.
I wonder if some of that too, he lasted, like for him, there were rumblings that he was going to be a top 40, top 50 pick easily. He went 55. So he waited a little bit longer than maybe he was expecting. So maybe there was a little bit of relief that, he finally did get drafted as well.
Yeah.
Gabicus. That's his new name.
Gabicus.
All right. Where are we?
We are at pick 5 of the 5th round, so we're at 146.
They hold back.
This
could go a lot faster if the league wanted it to. Sam Hecht.
Yeah, we got about
just
25.
got picked.
25 picks to go.
There's a handful of centers that have gone in the last 20 picks or so that were all the centers that everybody has been talking about. Logan Jones went super early. But Connor Lau, Sam Hecht, like those are the guys that a lot of people are talking about as projecting them as starting centers.
A lot of the off-the-ball linebackers have gone.
They have.
That's been a spot where a number of guys. Jimmy Rolder from Michigan, we talked about. Elam Zor. I don't think Perkins has gone yet, but that's just the spot we talked about. Day 3.
My guy Bechter went.
Bechter,
Becher.
Lawson, Deontay Lawson from Alabama has injury red flags on him. Harold Perkins obviously had the ACL earlier on in his career at LSU. Justin Jefferson was, some people liked him. Aiden Fisher, my guy, is still there. He was like kind of the last. I was a Betcher, Rolder, Fisher. Those were the 3 guys I was zooming in on. I like Perkins too as just like a fun chess piece if you can figure him out. I mean, he's such a good athlete. Yeah. If you can figure out what to do with him, then you might get a steal there. So they're looking for the guy that is more consistent and is just gonna kind of do the Robert Spillane dance. Then that's probably like a Fisher. If you're looking for upside and potential, then Perkins still being there is intriguing.
Bob in Wilmington, North Carolina writes in at podcast@patriots.com. He wants to know, what's your favorite round of the draft?
Second round.
First.
Why
love the second round.
Deuce?
Because I think that's where, the first round you generally know, how guys are going to go. But I think second round it gets interesting. And I also think that's a time where you get a guy who might be devalued a little bit, but that still, maybe they're coming off a bad year, maybe they had an injury. You have to take a little bit of a chance on a guy. The first round, I love it, of course, but there's a lot of pressure on that player, and to nail that player for the team. So I love day 2. That second and third round, I said it last night, that's where the rubber meets the road. That's the picks. That's the heart of your draft. You got to hit those ones. And, and to Paul's point, the day 3 ones, this is where the great teams find players. This is, if you want to be consistently competitive in the NFL, you got to find a couple players almost every year on day 3, and that's what the really good teams do. So, Patriots no fourth round pick. That's a little bit of a donut in their draft class this year, but hopefully they have somebody here who falls through the cracks. But to be honest, a lot of the guys that I love, they're they're going fast and furious now.
Yeah.
Evan, what's your favorite round?
I would say day 2, even the 4th round. Like, I think that's where you separate the men from the boys. Like, everybody can draft in the 1st round. Like, if you're, especially if you're high in the 1st round, looking even at the Patriots, like, Drake May and Will Campbell, like, those guys are guys that are consensus great players, great
Trey
prospects. But
not everyone can,
And there's a lot of misses.
Right.
And I think it's so exacerbated when you miss there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because of what Evan's saying. Like, these are the guys that everybody has rated. And if you miss on one of those, there's a laundry list of offensive tackles that have missed in the first round over the last 5 years.
You paid a big price to draft high in the 1st round, whether it's because you suck or you traded a lot of assets to get there. And to miss on that is big.
I just think
Killer.
the real hardcore scouting is yesterday and today, right? Like, and the guys that I think the best teams, like Deuce was saying, are the ones that find the diamonds in the rough. Paul mentioned Puka Nacua earlier on the show.
Yeah.
The Patriots, I keep going back to it, drafting Craig Woodson in the 4th round. Like those sort of picks
Michael Munyon.
are huge. I mean, that's huge.
If you're
for
asking me
your
what's more
franchise.
impressive, what's harder,
yeah,
absolutely.
for sure.
When you're getting those day 2 and day 3 picks, when all the consensus talent is gone, because in the 1st round you're picking from consensus talented players, but now you got to figure out the intangibles. Who has the desire. Who's in what player is
who
football
fits.
important enough, and then who fits in your system and stuff like that. What's the better fit?
Yeah.
But I just think 1st rounders are the difference makers.
Yeah.
And that's why
Most of the time, but then
I
there's-
gravitate to talent.
Most of the
why
time,
you like
but
me.
like if you're gonna throw Trey Lance at me, like I can throw Fred Warner at you. Like
yeah.
like there's guys like that go,
course.
later in the draft too. Like
The only reason I threw Trey Lance, you said it was easy to draft in the 1st round.
Yeah,
It
Not
is.
always.
Well, I would
think
almost
it-
say it's
I think
easy.
it's pretty easy.
I would
Like if
argue
you
there's more.
like
I would argue there's more round 1 busts than there are day 3 Fred Warners.
I was going to say it's hard not to draft in the 1st round. It's hard not to draft the guy. And I wonder in some of these teams if it becomes kind of groupthink and it's you look at these mock drafts and they say, well, Trey Lance is the 4th quarterback and everyone's got that. And do we really love him? Like, I don't know. But, it's hard because these guys get slotted and they're supposed to go there. But go back 5 years. Look at the 1st round. There's a handful of complete misses.
There's going to be 8 to 10 guys that you say, yeah, he's okay. And here's the thing that happens too, and it happens to me all the time. All those names because we do this every year.
Right.
So you really remember those 30, 40 names very well, and then you look at, the round 5 guys that are getting taken today. Right now, a lot of these names are somewhat familiar to me because but they'll go right out of my mind if they don't hit.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas,
But I would just say like if you say there's I don't know, it's usually like a 50% hit rate in the 1st round. And then once we get out of the 1st round, that drops off a cliff, right?
Yeah.
And then once we get into day 3, that drops off another cliff.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So like at least in the 1st round, you're flipping a coin that you're probably going to hit on the player, and if you're good at it, you're much higher than that.
And the miss in the 1st round is usually not a guy who's like out of the league, unless you're like the Raiders.
At what point in the draft do you
Alex
feel
Leatherwood.
it's better to be lucky than good?
Lucky than good.
Like if you're hitting in 5th, 6th, and 7th round, is that more luck, or is it we're really good?
It's
at
probably a
drafting?
coin flip between those two,
probably
to
a
be honest.
combination.
Yeah, and I would also say like, I know what your point is.
Yeah.
But like if you do that consistently, you
Yeah,
have a hard time calling it luck.
right.
Yeah.
Like
But who does that in the
the
5th?
Rams have consistently gotten like really high quality players outside of the 1st round. Now out of necessity because they gave away so many of their 1st round picks, but they had that slate up. I think one of the nights of the draft this weekend, and there was like 8 guys on that board. None of them were 1st round picks. And they're all household names for everybody who watches Rams games. Like that at some point it's not luck. Now if you just you pick Tom Brady in the 6th round, there's an element of fortune to that. I'm not trying to be silly about it, but
I'm more
when you get good, like when you get Craig Woodson's,
Yeah, I would say
I
it's
have a hard time calling that luck. That's
more,
a good pick.
More 2 through 4.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Yeah.
not talking about
Yeah.
the back end of the third.
Like I don't
day
think they were
3.
lucky to get Craig Woodson. I think they identified something there.
Now,
Yeah.
a guy like Julian Edelman.
that's a little.
They
more
saw
risky.
something
Yeah.
in him because it was a quarterback. They knew he wasn't going to be a quarterback.
He had,
Yeah.
Bill had
Yeah.
no idea, and he's
Right.
admitted it as much. He
Yes.
had no idea what he
Yeah.
wanted
But
to do
they
with
saw
him.
some.
Yeah.
He loved football.
Great three-cone
He's a
time.
competitor. He had
Yeah.
that drive in him. We can do something with that.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
We're
with
not
a
sure
lot of
what it
the-
is, but we
Right.
can do
Well,
something.
I think
with
that's
it.
the feeling in these later rounds is what's the one trait? Like, is there one trait? Does he
Yeah.
have great size? Does he have great speed? Does he have great quickness? And then see if we can build around that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that, the Julian Edelmans are probably trailblazers in this regard, but like you see so many of these guys when you're doing research on these players that were quarterbacks and they actually just make the switch in college now. Like so.
Stowers did it,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So it's Stowers was one of them. It's no longer the Julian Edelman route of he was a college quarterback all the way through and then he becomes a wide receiver. So I bet it's probably a little bit to do with Edelman's success and why that happened sooner. But Jacoby Myers was one of those guys. He started as a quarterback and then switched in college to wide receiver. So you see that less and less now that they position switches once you get to the league.
Mike in Brooklyn writes in. He wants to talk about Raritan. He says, "I've watched every down and game he played at Notre Dame.
Nice.
My wife of 12 years is a Notre Dame alumnus, so we don't make plans on Saturdays in the fall. We watch the Irish. He's going to be good. He is too tall to block with a lot of power, but is a crazy athlete, and Notre Dame used his speed and length to have him get to key places in the run game. He and Lomu give them a lot of flexibility in how they can block in the run game. At Notre Dame, his range to get really wide or to the second, third level helps spring a ton of big runs for Love and Price. With an athlete like Lomu and May being a run threat and the speed Henderson has, I think they're building a run game built around space and athleticism, not power. And it's really exciting. Really want to know what Evan thinks of this.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a lot of good points. I think with Raritan, his blocking tape, he's definitely at his best when he can get some momentum into the blocks, whether it's in space or it's up to the second level or, down blocking on the line of scrimmage where he's using his athleticism to create power. If you ask him to just sit there and dig out somebody, at the point of attack, he doesn't really have the raw strength and the the power to kind of displace that defender. But if you give him some momentum, he was really good at inserting up through the middle of the line of scrimmage up to the linebackers at the second level and kind of almost like a fullback, leading through the hole, so to speak. So there was a lot of different movement blocks that I thought were impressive. And when we talked to Elliot Wolf yesterday, that's what he said. He said they want athletes on the offensive line. They want to be a little bit more athletic, and with that is going to probably come with finesse. That's just naturally a side effect of getting guys that are good athletes. But it'll be fun. I mean, if they're all of a sudden more of a spread space team, and Drake May's in the shotgun a lot, and he's surveying and doing his thing that will be a fun brand of football to watch.
Okay. Anthony in Seattle says, I
Took
agree
a lot
with
of my
Evan.
excitement out of the draft with that whole run-oriented thing. Kind
Well,
of bummed me out a little bit.
Why?
So I don't want to be a running team.
They don't want to be a running team. They're drafting all these athletes because they
I
need
want
to
to
pass
move the
block.
ball. If that,
I want to score.
Yeah, well, I want to move the ball and score.
Mike, how do you score?
Throw the ball,
Thanks,
score.
Mike.
Throw to score, run to win.
Thank
What
you,
was
Mike.
what was the thing when I asked Elliot Wolf about the athletes?
I'm being sarcastic, everybody.
The number one thing that he
Relax.
said was pass blocking, because we have a quarterback that's going to drop back to pass a lot. That was his number one thing, and then he got into some of the multiplicity in the run game.
And
stuff
I understand,
like
Vrabel's thing about being more consistent in the running game with some ability to run when you need to run a little bit more effectively. I'm all for that because that's Mike's cliche.
that. Yeah.
That's when you run to win. You throw to score and you run to win. I know that's a cliche, but there's a lot
Sometimes
of
they're
validity to
true.
that.
Yeah.
I would just say that where I differentiate with the blocking element with the tight end position, when you're blocking out in space and you're blocking up on the move and you're getting the tight end on linebackers and defensive backs, it's cool to watch that, and there's value to that. That doesn't really make him a blocker, in my opinion. A guy that's a blocker is a guy that puts his hand in the dirt and can block
He's
ends
more of a guy who gets in the way.
and outside linebackers.
And you know who did that for them last year? Was Mac Hollins.
Yeah, right.
He was he was really a slot tight end who blocked for them in those kinds of situations.
Yeah, and there's nothing. I'm not
You could do that.
saying
yeah.
that it's a bad thing. I'm just saying when we start talking about guys that are true blocking tight ends, I think of the inline guys like Gronk that had the hand in the dirt. And like Gronk could take a 305-pound defensive end and block him. I don't think Raritan is going to be that kind of guy.
Anthony in Seattle says, I agree with Evan and Deuce. I think you can make up for a first-round miss with second and third-round hits. Okay.
I don't.
Well, it depends.
If you consistently miss on your first-round pick, you're not getting blue-chip talent.
Yeah. The exception would be if you somehow find blue chip talent in those second and third rounds.
I mean, you can do that once in a while, but you're not getting consistent blue chip talent beyond the first round.
Like maybe the acceptable thing is you got a solid player, but not a, you
can get good players throughout the draft. But like, there's a reason why when you look back at the Hall of Fame and you go by round, there's a reason why they're almost all first rounders.
Right.
Sure.
Talent.
Let's go to the phones. 855-PATS-500.
Fred, you lost your chance to get Justin Jefferson all these years later.
Yeah.
He went back into the draft, huh?
Yeah.
As a linebacker. Interesting.
Let's go to Dorchester, where Butch is. What's up, Butch?
Hey, guys. Looking to talk linebacker here.
Yeah.
I feel like every year, even going back to the end of the Belichick days, we're looking for some solution here at inside linebacker. And it seems like, these guys are available around 3 to 5, and they're relatively cheap in free agency. And we just, seem to be putting a Band-Aid on the situation here instead of, sort of building long term. So we got Spillane, and right now I'd say Ellis is starting next to him. And I'm not really sold on Ellis. Gibson's gone, and I actually really liked Gibson for what they asked him to do. KJ Britt, kind of feels like an upgrade over Gibson a little. And, I never really thought Tavai was what we needed. He was a liability in coverage. All signs point towards the Missouri kid. We'll see if he's there when we're up. I kind of like the BYU kid. But, are they starters, or do we have to look to free agency? And, Matt Milano's still out there, maybe a veteran incentive-laden deal. We can cut him if it doesn't work type of thing. What are we doing at linebacker here?
Yeah.
Okay. Linebacker. Is it getting harder and harder to find good linebackers?
Well, I would just say that the position itself as a whole has been devalued. And when we talked to Elliot Wolf before the draft and the pre-draft press conference, he highlighted day 3 as a sweet spot in this particular class for linebackers. So they have 5 more picks to make today, and I fully expect one of them at least to be a linebacker. Now, maybe it's not the value that the caller is looking for in terms of immediate impact and all that kind of stuff, but I think that they're looking for linebackers today, and I'm sure even at 171 they might end up coming out with a linebacker at that pick.
I totally hear the call, though. I mean, it's a concern of mine. There's only so much you can do in the draft. There's only so many, talented pieces that you can get. But, Spillane or Ellis gets hurt. And, I mean, I like Ellis. I'm not in love with Ellis. I think he's okay. He's a holdover. I mean, they wanted to keep him, and he had moments.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately he's not the kind of game changer. And
Mike.
Spillane's a little older, and it's just when you look at that, it could be an Achilles heel for,
Jack
Spillane's
Gibbons
hurt
gave
again.
them some
Gibbons
good snaps in a reserve role last year. I'm not sure KJ Britt. We'll find out. I mean, I don't know much about him. I'm not saying that he's not that, but he hasn't played that much defense. So maybe he can come in and do exactly what Gibbons did or more. And then at least you have some depth there. But I would be surprised if they didn't find, another piece. What are the guys?
There's still Aiden Fisher, Harold Perkins is still available.
Lawson.
Perkins is the LSU
Keyshawn
guy,
Elliott.
right? The athletic kid that got hurt at LSU.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be opposed to taking a flyer on that.
I don't like. I'm kind of. Paul, you say this all the time about other positions. I do linebacker on your own time.
Well, you started
really
off this
don't
whole
care.
thing with the position's been devalued. Just go right down to how many are on the field. Like when I started doing this, they had 4 linebackers on the field at all times. Now you're lucky if there's more than 2.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you need, in my opinion, you need 3 linebackers. You want one guy like Robert Spillane, who's kind of your anchor at that position. You're going to play some standard nickel, so you're going to have a second linebacker like Ellis playing next to him, and then you want a super sub like Jack Gibbons. But even Jack Gibbons was like a spot starter and really a special teamer.
This guy is going to have to be a special teamer.
Right, and so that role in itself is also 90% kicking game anyways.
Justin Jolie.
The sideline to sideline
Kinda like
linebacker thing, on third down, they're going to put an extra defensive back on the field, and you're not going to have that guy in coverage. Like that
the
guy's
only
gonna be up
concern
in
I
the
would
rush.
have is because Robert Spillane plays so many plays. If something were to happen, you lost him down the stretch last
two
year.
different times.
Made a difference.
Yeah.
And I do think, I do think Gibbons did a good job of filling in for him. And I don't know that they have the ability to do that.
Yeah. No,
And
I think back.
maybe they do. Maybe Britt is that. Maybe Christian Ellis is a little bit better this year in the second year of this system.
I still
don't
think some of
know.
the linebackers that are available can play. I think, like I said earlier, this class was touted as this is the sweet spot for the linebackers, and that doesn't mean I'm not saying that as in like it was a bad year for linebackers. Actually, a really deep year for linebackers. It just they a lot of them happen to grade out in like this 4th or 5th round range. So I still think that there's a lot of options of guys that they could get that could at least be that third guy like Jack Gibbons was. Maybe he's not going to replace Robert Spillane. Maybe they're not doing that quite yet, but I think there's like 4 or 5 guys that I thought were solid players.
I wonder about the Tavai of it all too, because he never really seemed to fit entirely what they did. They found a role for him, kind of as a stand-up strong side guy. I mean, they'll stand up Landry. I'm sure they'll stand up Draymond Jones to make that third linebacker, but there's no obvious third linebacker right now. I mean, I feel like Britt is more inside kind of a guy. Do they even want that position? But I think back 2 years ago, I thought that was kind of the poster child for when you don't have linebackers who can get off blocks or get around blocks and make plays, and teams are just grinding you to death. And Fred, you pointed out when Spillane got hurt like twice, and it was weird, and you didn't
what
know.
happened that year that you're talking about 2 years ago?
They were terrible.
Bentley got hurt.
Bentley got hurt. Right. Yep.
And all of a sudden,
And that made a big difference.
Right.
That's
and
what I'm
then-
saying. And if something were to happen to Spillane, I'm not sure that you'd just be okay.
I mean, yeah, right. No, me neither. I mean, and he talks so much about how he makes everybody right, and he's the communicator. And I mean, don't even talk about the energy that he brings. But
where were they going to like if they were going to do that? They would have had to have done it last night.
yeah,
No,
Like,
but
you know,
yeah.
like-
and one of you guys,
Yeah.
one of you guys made the point. Like you can't just do everything. You
Yeah.
can't
Right.
fix
Yeah,
everything.
right. No,
I
I
was
know.
listening to one of your shows this morning, Paul,
oh,
and
this is my show. Fred.
and the kid was talking about tackle, saying he wasn't crazy about the pick, but last year they went into the season with no plan. This this is the Achilles heel of this team. They don't have a plan,
oh,
and as if like every year you can address every need.
yeah.
You just can't.
So I'm curious about this. What did he mean? Like
A plan for tackle.
the plan?
now they have 3
like,
tackles.
The plan this year
Last year,
was
the
as plain
draft.
as the nose in your face. The
Yeah.
plan in the draft.
Right.
Evan said it right at the top of the show. Well, I mean, you ask any Patriots fan what their top 3 needs were, and in some order it was tackle, edge, tight end. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 needs. Everybody kind of assumed they were going to get A.J. Brown. So it was tackle, edge, tight end. And they did it. Like, that's not a plan?
Yeah.
I'm going to push back on that a little bit. Who said that? Who should I,
It was.
who should I be mad
he
at?
was with Megan Odolini.
Okay.
Was it Shine
You're
Time?
listening
Yeah,
to,
Shine.
you're listening to the wrong station.
He's planted his flag in. I hate this
They're all
draft,
your
and it's
stations,
terrible.
Paul. What?
He's not my station, especially after what they did to my boy.
Yeah,
That's true.
And my boy.
So just looking at the
true.
linebackers
Stupid.
yesterday, because there was a gap in linebackers. A bunch of them went in the 2nd round, and then none until today in the 4th round. So the Patriots took Akis at 55. Anthony Hill Jr. went at 60, and then there wasn't another linebacker taken until the 4th round. So there was obviously a drop off there. C.J. Allen, Anthony Hill Jr., Golday, they all went in the 2nd round last night. Trotter. So
And I've seen a lot of these names go off today too, like Keyshawn Elliott. I saw was it Elam
Elam Zor.
Zor?
Yeah, I think
went.
Keyshawn Elliott's still available.
Betcher went. He is.
I think so.
I thought I saw him go.
No, you saw Kyle Lewis go maybe. Right now, so far, Elam Zor, Kendall Daniels, Betcher, Lewis, and Justin Jefferson have been drafted at linebacker. But we went from pick 28 in the 2nd
Daniels just
round.
wrecking dudes. What a great highlight tape he had.
To,
You should have, Evan was giggling at me. I go, oh, did you see that hit? He's like giggling at me. That's a good one. It was like Evan was saying, it's about time you watch some of these guys.
Seriously.
You do watch some of them. It's
So-
about time you watch these 6th-round picks.
Right.
I mean, to address that need at linebacker, and like we all agree, to really
Jaden
address the need, right? You would have had to have done it at 55 last night. And like, who would you have rather had? You know, an off-ball linebacker or Akis?
Yeah,
right?
no, you're totally right, and that's this is what you have to choose. You have to make a choice, and there's a little more pressure on Spillane and Ellis to be better.
And I'm not looking to draft a guy. This is kind of back to our larger point about what's your favorite round of the draft. I'm not looking for a guy right now that can replace Robert Spillane.
Yeah,
right now. But it's kind of like what they did with Lomu. I'm looking for a guy who I think might have the potential to someday step into a role like that. But this year, I'm going to ask him to be a core 4 special teamer.
Right.
And provide some depth in case someone gets banged up.
Yep.
I'm not asking someone to go out. I'm not drafting someone on day 3 that I'm going to ask to replace Robert Spillane day 1. I don't think Robert Spillane, when he was drafted or when he came into the league, was capable of doing that. Otherwise, he wouldn't have bounced around the way he did.
It took him a while.
It's just
to get
interesting to me. You know, you mentioned the special teams element because I think some of these linebackers, like my guy Aiden Fisher, is more of like he wins with his brain, right? Like he's winning with instincts, he's winning with feel. I don't know if he has the athleticism necessarily to be like a great player in the kicking game, but then other guys that are great athletes might not have his instincts, but they have the athleticism to play in the kicking game. So if you're kind of dead set on the guy that you draft being somebody that plays, is like a core 4 special teamer, like, that might be a little bit of a different type of player than someone that you're projecting is going to play on defense. So it'd be interesting to see how they kind of split that, because I don't know if Fisher has or Jack Kelly from BYU, who some people like Kayshawn Elliott might have it. I don't know if they have the athleticism to go out there and play in space like that in the kicking game.
All right. Well, I grew up in the days of, Willie Lanier and Jack Lambert and, even Andre Tippett and
Steve Nelson
and Lawrence Taylor. They were linebackers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
those guys were
Andre
outside.
Tippett and Lawrence Taylor are now like Myles Garrett. Like, you don't call them linebackers
No, but
anymore.
back then they were linebackers.
Right, but they were pass rushers. They were stand-up edge rushers.
Yep.
Now both of those guys could cover.
Yep.
But that's not what they made their living doing. Those guys were really edge rushers. The Jack Lamberts and the William Laniers that you're talking about, this is Evan's lament. They don't have those linebackers now that, like Ted Johnson. Like, just kind of come up and fill the gap, take on the,
Thumpers.
take on the blocks and fill gaps. And it's more now you need sideline to sideline, 3-down guys who can cover a little bit, tackle, be athletes to be able to match up with some of these running backs that are so prevalent now in the passing game. It's hard.
I mean, that's why
it's a hard position to play.
Ray Lewis was sort of like the last of the breed where he could thump, he could cover, he could go sideline to sideline. He could do it all.
Yeah. I just, for me, like linebackers, like I want my linebackers going forward. Like if the guys that are covering, like let's get the DBs to cover, right? Like I don't want my linebackers being in high stress coverage situations. Like if it's 3rd down, I'm taking that linebacker off the field. Maybe like you have one linebacker, Spillane would play.
That's what it is. It's one guy.
Yeah, but he would blitz. Like he would.
And it's basically just in case they run.
Yeah. Like he would play he would blitz or he'd mirror or whatever. He wouldn't be like covering somebody, one-on-one too often. So I feel like that has also kind of played a role. Teams are playing so much nickel and dime defense now that you don't even really need the guys, that can match up on running backs like that. I think that's even getting a little bit more extinct too.
Yeah. Do you think we'll ever see the cycle kind of go back to needing those types of linebackers?
I think, in my opinion, it's going back to the guys that can take on blocks, like because you're trying to stop the run out of these lighter boxes. And if you don't have guys that can come downhill and fill and basically count as extra defensive linemen and take back gaps, then it gets really, really difficult. So I actually think that in a lot of cases, now you can be 225 pounds and fill a gap. You just do it with speed to power instead of just like raw size. But, we saw like Josiah Trotter went last night really, really early. Yeah, like that's because he is a really, really good run defending linebacker. Like he's not a coverage player. He's a really good run defender. I think some of these teams are looking at it and saying, we're going to play a 6-man box, so our Mike is going to have to be able to compress space. They're going to have to take on blocks. They're going to have to be able to make plays against the run. Let the safeties cover people. Let the corners cover people. This guy's going to go downhill.
All right, 855-PATS-500 is the hotline. Let's go to Sean in Vancouver. What's up, Sean?
Hey, Fred, a few things. Joe Kim believed that Gabe Akis would be a Patriot. how much of the New England Patriots connection worked the other way to convince the Pats? Also, safety Jalen Kilgore seems to be falling a bit. What do you think of him as a Patriot if he's still available? Last thing, what do you think about nose tackle Tim Keenan III? Could he be a Tonga replacement? I'll let you go on that.
Yeah, he's
Go, Pat.
the comp. He was the comp in NFL.com. Yeah, I'd probably, if I had to bet right now, I might roll the dice on nose tackle at this spot coming up.
I think the Godfather's still out there too.
Yeah,
Timmy Keenan, when I watched him, was there's no pass rush there.
Yeah.
Like that he is a situational. He's going to play on first down. He's going to play on short yardage, goal line. He's not going to play at all in passing situations. So I think Dane had him like a late day 3 pick just because of how small of a role he's going to play. Kilgore I think is falling because he's kind of like a specialized, like he's a nickel. I think he's going to play in the slot. But you need to have a role for that. Like if you don't want to play a big nickel like that, then there's a lot of teams that just rules out that kind of player altogether.
All right. Connor wants to know, do you think the Patriots would have taken Eli Raritan regardless, or do you think Chris Bell was the pick if the Dolphins didn't snag him 1 pick earlier?
I'd go.
That's a fair question.
I'd lean with what they did. I just tight end's a bigger need. It's a position we talked about. We're assuming AJ Brown's going to be coming in. That's the way I would lean. And Paul's thing, Bell was, maybe you're going to have to store him for a little while. Maybe at least he opens up on PUP. But yeah, I'm interested to know how they viewed this whole tight end class. I mean, we'll never know, but there were a lot of good players. But I'm excited about Raritan. It's funny, you go back and you look at your notes, and I'm like, yeah, I really like this kid. Why was I not really on him as much? And it just kind of happens when you're sifting through all these guys. But it's just thinking about it last night, getting to see him on the field with the length that he has. It's gonna be intriguing, to see how Drake responds to that. Just so much. I mean, out of the gate in training camp, you felt like, no, he likes Matt Collins. Like he's throwing the ball to Matt Collins a lot. And I was talking about Brian. I was talking to Brian Hoyer today about it. I just said, did you have types of receivers that you struggled to build chemistry with because they were smaller? And I forget the name of the receiver he told me about, but he said that yes, he was. I know it's one like
Pam Childress.
from like Cleveland days, not a Patriot guy. It was like a Cleveland guy. It was like a Cleveland guy.
Riley McCarron.
But he said, and the receiver said it's so hard because you can't see me and I can't see you. And he was like, when you catch the ball, it'd be like, whoa, you wouldn't see it until it's right here. So and it's just a general Drake thing. I think he just likes seeing those targets. I mean, Drake's got good size. He doesn't have a problem scanning the field, but I'm excited that I think Raritan is going to fit exactly that kind of mold that Drake likes to throw to.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't feel like fans, think about. Sometimes you just can't see the guy.
Yeah.
So it's easy when you watch it from a bird's eye view, and it's like, oh, this guy's open, right? But
it's the screen caps.
Yeah, but
that they put on Twitter.
Sometimes
This guy's wide open.
The
there's a
lineman
80 yards away.
Yeah, or a lineman flash in front of his face, or a guy kind of hides, and it's actually a skill as a receiver to if he can't see you, then you can't see him, right? So receivers are supposed to know that if I can't make eye contact with the quarterback right now, then he can't see me. So I need to move. I'm not in a good place with that. So it's funny how that happens sometimes. I can't remember exactly what play it was, but there was one play last year, the year before, where Drake missed a guy open over the middle of the field, and he was like, honestly, I couldn't see him.
A lot of guys, well, not a lot, but you see some guys, regardless of the color of their uniforms, they wear those bright yellow receiving gloves.
Yeah.
Do you think that has anything to do with maybe that flashes and quarterback sees it a little better?
Maybe.
Sure.
I remember Edelman talked about how Bill would have them wear receiver gloves that were the same color as the jersey of the opponent.
Right.
So that for holding, so that they couldn't see where the refs couldn't see the hands as well on the jerseys.
Sure.
So they would camouflage into the jersey. So
I taught them that.
Why do you have you can't wear teal gloves against the Dolphins? You're on the Patriots.
So they just have a bunch of different colored gloves, and if they're playing a team with dark colored jerseys, they put the black gloves on, and light colored jerseys they put the white gloves on. Yeah.
I taught them that.
I just hate when they wear the yellow gloves because it always looks like a flag.
Yeah.
You're watching TV and you're like, oh, it's a flag.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's no, it's just a glove.
Eddie in L.A., fun draft so far. I personally would have liked Howell over Akis. I want to say Yakis, but I know it's Akis.
It's Akis.
Akis.
Yeah.
But I see the potential with Akis, so I can't complain. So say Campbell isn't suited for a left tackle. Would it be smart to try him at right tackle and then guard, or would you move him straight to guard and try Lomu at left tackle? Just some thoughts on how you would go about fixing the line if things don't work out.
I mean, whatever you do, I don't want to weaken two spots at once. So, if Vera Tucker is in the left guard spot and he's playing well,
then where's Vera Tucker going? If you're moving
right,
Campbell to left guard, then is Vera Tucker going to right guard, I guess, and then maybe on when he was out, and like, which is possible.
Yeah, I think that the larger, rather than worrying about sides, is would you try Campbell at right tackle before you tried to move him to guard?
Right.
I'm gonna play Will Campbell at left tackle.
No. This hypothetical. Ev, you need to
you're
play
gonna have
along.
to play.
No,
you gotta play.
I don't like. No, I don't need. I don't know why we have to entertain this. Like
this whole. I want to explore this further during the course of the offseason.
Move around the room a little bit.
This utter refusal. Like, I don't care who plays left tackle as long as they're the best left tackle on the team.
I think he's the best left tackle on the team.
I understand that.
That's not. I'm not saying that I care.
This emailer is trying to suggest that Lomu is better at left tackle than Will Campbell. So then, what would you do with Will Campbell in that case? Would you move him to right
this is
tackle,
just
or
talk
would you automatically
radio
move him to
hypotheticals. Like we're just making things up.
right?
So why? Like
Because it's a possibility. That's why.
I mean, a possibility.
That's why you create competition on your roster, so you see who the best player is.
Can we
and
see
you
the
play
guy
him.
play in pads in an NFL practice before we start saying
No
he's a
one's
better
saying
left
that this is
tackle?
happening, Ev. You need to open your mind a little bit. Like, no one said this is happening,
Okay.
but we don't know. In an emailer has I think a very legitimate question. Would you just automatically
And I'm
move
not
him
trying
to
to
right
dump
tackle,
on the
or would you
emailer.
move him to guard?
I just feel like we're
You just don't want to entertain it.
Right. It's like because everybody likes the guy. I love the kid too.
No,
he
it's
spent
not
time
that.
talking to my wife at the welcome party. I thought it was great. I love the kid.
You're like,
what
somebody.
if he's not as good as
Evan's,
Lomu?
like somebody tells Evan, somebody in your family could get sick. No, they can't. No, I'm just not going to
It's
allow
just
for
like
that.
no.
There is this element where no one
That's
wants
okay.
to even bring up the possibility that
I hear you.
it wasn't the right pick.
because like it just I'm not whatever. I just like we're talking
I
about
just find it odd.
like because we're talking about a guy that played at a really high level, I think, at that position for 14 weeks. Then he tore his MCL,
But some other
and then he
people
didn't.
don't think that.
I mean, he had one bad game against Miles Garrett. Are we gonna? We're gonna.
See, I don't even
we're
think
gonna
that was
bury
the
him?
game. I mean, like, I think there was a lot of like really late pressure. I mean, I know that you just look at the sack total at the end of that game, and it looks like he got killed. I don't really think he got killed that game. I know he gave up 5 sacks, but a couple of them were well out of the pocket, and Miles Garrett's just a superior athlete and ran him down. But I think that he.
Can we just at least give it some time before we broach the subject? Like, let's watch the season unfold a little bit.
I just don't
first.
understand
I know,
why
but
we have to
you
wait
could-
time to
like,
broach a
listen,
possibility.
I hear you, Evan. Like I've said many times, I'm Team Campbell. However, they just drafted a guy who all he's played is left tackle.
Well, that's kind of why Evan doesn't really love the pick.
And
I mean,
and so
I'm saying.
Right?
like, yeah.
and some people think that Will Campbell played at a very high level against the lesser competition in the league, and when things got a little bit more heated later on, he didn't do well. Now a lot of that could have been the injury. I give you that.
Yeah.
But people are just what if?
So my whole
you have
thing,
to hope for the
I
best
think
and plan for the
you're
worst.
thinking about this all wrong about what I'm saying. Like, it has nothing to do with that I like the guy. Okay, this is about let's move this guy over here and let's move that guy over there, and then like that's just magically going to make them all better.
Well, no, it's
so
finding the best 5.
But the thing that
That's
I'm
what I
saying
wanna do.
is that moving Will Campbell inside to guard or flipping him to right tackle, there's no guarantee that he's a better left guard or right tackle than he is a left tackle.
That's true.
And actually, in reality, it's like a lot harder than people are giving it like credence for.
That's an even darker
It
hypothetical.
could be, but on the other hand, if he's not doing well at left tackle, you don't want to just scuttle him. You want to find a place for him because you think he's a good football player.
Okay, but we're all just assuming that, and it's the same thing with Lomba. We're all just assuming he can play right.
No,
we're
I'm
all
not
just
assuming that.
Will is going to
But
move
I wanna
inside to
see.
left guard, and he's going to be
I wanna
a great
see
left
if
And
guard.
in fairness, Ev, the other night when they picked Lomu, I had said to Mike, like, well, what if he can't do that? Like, I don't know what Lomu is.
Right.
The guy's never played an NFL
He
game.
may not be able to play right
so,
tackle.
like, this might be a completely moot point, but
can I answer?
Yeah.
I'll just say I would wait till 2027, and if it happened, I would let Onwenu walk, and I would slide Vera Tucker to right guard, and I would put Will Campbell at left guard.
That to me,
I'm not in favor of that.
I think that's
a lot of moving parts.
Well, Vera Tucker's played right guard.
He has played right guard.
Yeah, I know. It's just a lot of moving parts.
I think he's a left guard. Will Campbell be? I think that probably would be where it would be. But I don't see the need to do it this year. I think about injury too.
But in that scenario, who plays right tackle?
Morgan Moses.
He's 27.
You could probably find a right tackle.
Soon to be desired,
really?
third straight year of a
right guard. Yeah.
third straight year of a tackle in the first
he has
round.
Vera Tucker at right guard. Who plays right tackle? Is what I said. They don't have one.
Who's on third?
But I think that's what the crux of the thing is. I understand Evan's point. He doesn't necessarily want to get bogged down in hypotheticals. And this is typical of my shows. This is a typical my show hypothetical.
Yeah.
I grant you that. But if that were to happen, if you felt like Lomu, let's say Lomu is really good, but is one of those guys that Belichick and Dante have talked about. Just he's not comfortable on the right side.
Yeah,
and he's really good. Maybe Campbell is comfortable moving. So maybe Campbell's fine.
Yeah,
but he has more of an ability to play right tackle than Lomu does. Maybe it's just a natural switch. So that's a positive way to look at it. Now you have two really good tackles.
Just to move past
Boom, I just fixed the whole thing.
The whole Will Campbell thing. That is what happened at Utah. Spencer Fano came to Utah with Lomu, and the Utah coaching staff said, we think Lomu can only play the left side. And so we're going to ask Spencer Fano, who's actually was drafted higher.
He was the first tackle,
yeah,
right?
and some people think was, the better player. We're actually going to ask him to play on the right side, which is unconventional because Lomu is really a left tackle only player. And so that, for that reason, was a big reason why I wrote off Lomu as somebody they were going to draft.
Which is also similar to Missouri last year, where you had Armand Membu, was the first round pick right tackle, and our own Marcus Bryant was the seventh round pick left tackle. Now, obviously, there's a much closer gap between the two Utah guys. They were both first round talents and first round picks. But it was the same kind of thing. When I talked to the Missouri line coach, they went out and got Marcus Bryant, I believe, from SMU, if I'm remembering correctly.
Like that.
And they plugged him right in on the left side because they thought Membu was more comfortable where he was, and they didn't want to disrupt that.
I want to go back to Evan's story about Lomu at Utah and Fano. So if that's the case, they didn't think he could play on the right side. Do you think the Patriots, you know about that story. I would think the Patriots scouting would know about that story too and have talked to them about that, and maybe in the years since, now do you think he could play right side? You think that they've talked about that with Utah?
Probably. And look, that was just, one person's interpretation of, what happened, what was being talked about. But they felt like Fano was more comfortable switching, so they switched Fano. The Patriots said after the draft on Thursday night that he took pass sets at right tackle at his pro day and looked pretty good getting in and out of his stance at right tackle because everything's flipped, right? You're not just your hands, but also your feet. So, the foot that you're kicking out of your stance with is now the opposite foot. So they said that, he looked pretty comfortable doing it. He's played 32 snaps in his entire collegiate career on the right side. It's not even a full game. So we haven't really seen him do it yet. He didn't do it at a college all-star game that I'm aware of. So he really hasn't done it in pads yet. So we'll see.
I'm just wondering if the people at Utah who know him the best say the stuff that we saw that we thought would keep him be able to play right tackle back then, he's improved on those things, and now it's different. Now we think he could probably make that transition.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I hope so. I mean, I hope that's the case. And, look, maybe we end up getting into a place where it's Will Campbell that's switching because he's more comfortable switching. I don't know. I keep going back to, the things that I've been told about offensive line play, and everybody thinks that it's just so easy to play musical chairs on the offensive line. We're just going to move this guy from this side to that side and that side to this side, and he's going to go inside and that guy's going to go outside, and
there's a lot to it.
All the O-line coaches that I've ever talked to say, no, you can't do it like that. And, a big thing that Dante Scarnecchia used to say was like they used to just do 1-for-1 substitutions because they wanted to just, instead of weakening 2 spots, they would just weaken 1 with the backup going in right directly for that spot. That's how you get the Jordan Devies starting games for the Patriots. So
the tuba player.
Yeah, so like that's why I get annoyed by the question, not because of the Will Campbell piece of it. It's the assumption that we're just going to be able to move everybody around and it's going to end up being better than it was to begin with.
Yeah,
right.
Well,
this is good.
I think it's worth pointing out too that Utah ran a run-first offense. So I don't know that the left tackle, right tackle thing, in the traditional sense of the way that we're thinking about it, is exactly applicable to how they were playing. So there might be some nuance there where they're an RPO-heavy team. Like, I don't know. It's not the traditional drop-back passing where, you know what I mean? There might be some more nuance to that decision than being so simple as he's better on the left or right.
But I think that again, I say this all the time. I'm not an offensive line expert, but to me, the changes, the difficulty in going from left to right is really less to do with the style of offenses. It is everything is backwards. So whether you're run blocking or pass blocking, you're doing it from the opposite side. Basically
there's just not a lot. There's not a lot of pass sets, though.
Sets,
you know what I mean?
Everything is kind of mirrored.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking off the top of my head here, though. But is it easier as a run blocker where I'm mostly just coming off and going out to my right, rather than you're kick stepping back to the right side and trying to get pass block guys I'm not saying that it's a total difference. There just might be some nuance in there with it.
All right, it's 3:00. We're on about the 164th pick. Patriots are sitting at the 171st pick. So let's take a break. When we come back, it'll be that much closer to when the Patriots make their 5th round pick. We'll be right back.
It ain't my dad's razor, Dad.
Hey, watch it.
It's from Gillette Labs. This green bar releases trapped hairs from my face.
Game changer.
While the Flex, this contours to it. So the 5 blades can get virtually every hair in one stroke. For the ultimate Gillette shaving experience.
The best a man can get
is Gillette Labs.
The future with AI will twist and turn. Cisco is the critical infrastructure for the AI era, clearing your path to wide open possibility. Cisco.
Let there be ideas too big to stay ideas, and the software to make them soar. Let there be anything. Autodesk.
It ain't my dad's razor, Dad.
Hey, watch it.
It's from Gillette Labs. This green bar releases trapped hairs from my face.
Game changer.
While the Flex, this contours to it. So the 5 blades can get virtually every hair in one stroke. For the ultimate Gillette shaving experience.
The best a man can get
is Gillette Labs.
The future with AI will twist and turn. Cisco is the critical infrastructure for the AI era, clearing your path to wide open possibility. Cisco.
Let there be ideas too big to stay ideas, and the software to make them soar. Let there be anything. Autodesk.
It ain't my dad's razor, Dad.
Hey, watch it.
It's from Gillette Labs. This green bar releases trapped hairs from my face.
Game changer.
While the Flex, this contours to it. So the 5 blades can get virtually every hair in one stroke. For the ultimate Gillette shaving experience.
The best a man can get
is Gillette Labs.
The future with AI will twist and turn. Cisco is the critical infrastructure for the AI era, clearing your path to wide open possibility. Cisco.
Let there be ideas too big to stay ideas, and the software to make them soar. Let there be anything. Autodesk.
It ain't my dad's razor, Dad.
Hey, watch it.
It's from Gillette Labs. This green bar releases trapped hairs from my face.
Game changer.
While the Flex Disc contours to it, so the 5 blades can get virtually every hair in one stroke. For the ultimate Gillette shaving experience,
The best a man can get
is Gillette Labs.
The future with AI will twist and turn. Cisco is the critical infrastructure for the AI era, clearing your path to wide open possibility. Cisco.
Let there be ideas too big to stay ideas, and the software to make them soar. Let there be anything. Autodesk.
It ain't
Welcome back to the 2026 Patriots Unfiltered Draft Show.
The New England Patriots select.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
These guys that have been picked in the 10 or so, like Abney, Caffey, Bredesen. I know.
Hey, we're back.
Oh, we are back.
I knew the running back from Penn State, Singleton.
Katron?
Yeah.
Oh.
Just crossing off another
Saquon-
back of the
Saquon
envelope
Barkley.
guy. Tanner Koziol from Houston, the tight
He was
end.
like a 6'7" middle schooler. Like he just had such a baby face, but he was a giant dude. And he's behind the podium at the combine. And I was like, oh, who's this guy? And then he like stepped down, and I'm like, oh my god, he's a huge kid.
Yeah, he reminded me of a lot of Mike Gesicki.
Yeah.
Like good receiving
sure.
tight end, great hands,
Yep.
great contested catch ability, not a blocker. Yeah,
No.
not a blocker.
All right. Penn State took Nicholas Singleton, running back.
Tennessee took Nicholas Singleton
I
from
mean, Tennessee.
Penn
Penn
State.
State's drafting
yeah.
players?
in the
That
NFL.
can't be
State is
illegal.
just- yeah, right.
He hopped in.
Nicholas Singleton
The
from
new-
Penn State got
the
taken
new
by
NIL.
Tennessee. So the Bears are on the clock.
Yeah,
their
Bills
pick
got
is in.
back
We're
to
about-
back.
We're about 4 picks away at this point.
Yeah.
Any good slot
The
receivers
Bills
available?
have back-to-back picks coming up.
I should have.
So I wonder what they'll do.
Bills are on in the 5th round. I think they had 2 picks earlier in the round.
They
too,
had
didn't
two. They had 2 4th-round picks because they
2
got one
fourth
from the
rounders,
Patriots.
okay.
They had back-to-back 4th-round picks.
Yeah, big day 3 team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They,
Buffalo.
they took Skylar Bell with the Patriots.
Skylar.
Pick the
this
Patriots
is,
traded.
This is a huge draft for the Bills. This is the beginning of their new era.
Oh, Fred, we're opening the window?
Well, they're trying to open the
Don't
window.
scare
They've
me.
got the new stadium, new
oh,
head
right,
coach.
Right.
It is interesting that obviously he's was their offensive coordinator, but they have a new defensive coordinator, Jim Leonard, and like the system is defensively looks like it's going to change pretty significantly. Like I don't think TJ Parker would have been their type of guy in a 4-3 like their old type of system. So it's interesting to see what Buffalo is transitioning to these days. Kayshawn Elliott just went, so another one of those linebackers.
Yep. So Bills, Steelers, Browns, Patriots.
Coming up, I don't know. I mean, this is 5th round of the draft at this point. Who knows what their board looks like. I go back to the question I poorly asked of Elliott 2 days ago, but at this point, how do you know when it's time to trade up? Or are there less trades when you get into day 3, or are there more trades? Because maybe you see somebody that you really, really like, and you say, "Screw it, we got to go get them." But at this point, don't you feel like you just kind of sit and wait and see what's there when you get there, and hopefully make a quality pick?
Let's see. Mike and Maine
I would
says
think.
to add
I would
fuel.
think Fred not playing.
That's fine. He didn't like it.
To add fuel to the fire, according to Cadlick's X account,
Oh God.
the starting 5
I
from
saw
left
this.
to right will be Lomu, Campbell, Wilson, Onwenu, and Vera Tucker.
Uh-oh.
This was
Evan, it's about to go
He
down.
said
Whoa,
that
whoa, whoa.
he said something about
Can you read that again?
So,
post-mortem
Lomu,
Moses or something. I
left
don't know.
tackle.
He got
So Vera
roasted.
Tucker's going to play right tackle?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he got roasted for this take. He got roasted so bad for the take that he replied to the tweet with a revised version and said, "Okay, all right, I get you don't like that. so
Mike,
let me do
don't
this."
back up.
Yeah,
Mike, stick your guns.
Beep, beep,
Okay. No, I'm not even going to. If that's Evan was well aware of all of that.
I'm well aware of what my guys are doing.
I'm
Come
going
on.
to move right along then.
I just love sending it in the group text. Like,
we're going to make a tackle, a guard, a tackle, and the rookie, the left tackle.
I just imagine the text box up from Evan. It's just like, what is this?
Yeah. No, because a lot of like
so much fun.
The thing that I was thinking about this morning when one of your guys was talking about, they don't have a plan. They should have done all this stuff last year. All this stuff, right? As if you can do it. These guys are playing fantasy football. Some of these analysts, these quote analysts.
Yeah.
That's not.
They need a WR1.
Yeah. It's not how it works. You just can't do everything every year.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, like I was thinking, as I do, I was thinking about this last night on my ride home. Their roster looks pretty darn good on paper right now.
It's not bad.
Especially
The Patriots?
Yeah.
They don't have any huge holes.
Especially if we're all assuming AJ Brown is going to be a part of this in a month. I mean,
they did a really good job in a really short amount of time of filling a lot of holes.
I mean, you can talk about depth, but every team has depth issues in certain places.
Off-ball linebacker is the depth issue right now. But they were talking about Lomu, having a little bit of guard flexibility maybe. As a rookie, if he's backing up, kind of 4 spots, if it comes to that. I don't know if you'd necessarily have all this major depth issues on the offensive line because you still have Ben Brown who can back up 3 spots on the interior. If, Lomu can be your swing tackle, I mean, how much more NFL caliber depth on the line do people think that you
what round was Joe Tooney taken?
Like third or fourth.
Yeah. If he had been a first-round pick and still had the same career where he's kind of like this guy that can play a lot, would that have been a good first-round pick?
I mean, we get into the guard thing, but he's a Hall of Fame guard, so I would say.
Yeah, probably a late first-round pick would have been, I mean, he's a Hall of Fame type
You
player.
guys know I keep my nerd depth chart here, and I would just say that the 3 spots I have left, like I have red spots of where I think they need depth.
Red
is that
spots.
Guard. Guard I think they need. Is Michael Munya's going to be up, and regardless, you got Ben Brown, who's a good swing guy, but I think you need one more young guard, a nose tackle, and an off-the-ball linebacker. Those are the 3 spots I have left that I'd like to get some depth pieces. They don't have to be immediate contributors, but maybe guys that develop behind the scenes. But, after that, I'm pretty good.
Yeah. I would say big picture for the whole roster, I agree that I think they've done an amazing job filling a lot of holes in a year plus, right? Last year and now so far this year. I would say one thing that would say, they've addressed it, but we'll see if it works. So wide receiver, you're going to have A.J. Brown, most likely, and Romeo Doubs. Do they work?
Yeah.
So if they work, now you've given Drake May, let's just say minimally, as much as you gave him last year, if not more.
Yeah.
Probably more.
I would say more,
right?
Depending on
so
Brown.
As long as that works. Now, if A.J. Brown's knees are shot and he's not, and he is on the decline, and Romeo Doubs kind of is what he is, he's just sort of a complementary piece and nothing more, then you're probably going to still be looking for some more weapons for Drake May next year.
I mean, maybe. I like A.J. Brown.
They've addressed it. You can't say they didn't address it.
Yeah, like A.J. Brown, Romeo Doubs, and whoever wins out for the 3rd spot, whether it's Kyle Williams or Mac Hollins or Booty or Pop are still on the roster at that point. Henry, now Raritan, you have your blocking tight end in Julian Hill. And you also have Ramondre and Travion Henderson as your 2 backs out of the backfield
to help them.
It's a pretty damn good roster.
And you have all 5 offensive linemen figured out.
The roster's gotten better dramatically in just 2 seasons.
Yep.
Like I don't know if you could ask much more out of these guys.
I think
they've done so far.
like the one spot I would say in terms of high end talent, like we talked about receiver, Akis has got to hit. Akis is going to have to be, a double-digit sack guy. They don't really have that kind of player without him, hitting his ceiling as a player. But even a lot of people are talking about, they still need depth at safety. Like Craig Woodson and Kevin Byard is a pretty darn good starting safety.
It's exciting,
right? And the reason I bring up the wide receiver thing, right, is because if it works out that let's just say it's the worst case scenario, and A.J. Brown doesn't work. So he's probably going to be a one and done. They'll probably find a way to move on from him if he's not good. So now you'd have Doubs next year. And then Mike has been talking about this for months. The rest of the receivers basically are up.
Yeah.
So you're really going to be looking for weapons in the passing game next year.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out with
Have
what
you guys
we have.
have you guys
Now if A.J. Brown is a 1,200-yard receiver, and Romeo Doubs can go from, a complimentary piece to like a 1A,
Yeah.
then you're all set.
Draft that kid Jerry Smith from the Buckeyes.
Jerry
Rice. Well, the good news is that even besides Jeremiah Smith, right now on paper it's a loaded wide receiver class next year. Like there's probably going to be some, I would say, at least 3, if not 4,
number ones,
like true like first round blue chip kind of receivers. Obviously Jeremiah Smith's in his own stratosphere, but it's a good class, But I just looked at their Our Lads depth chart as
perfectly
one does.
pronounced.
Our.
And I was kind of like, maybe I'm a homer, but like this looks like a pretty good roster. Like especially
I would
when you
agree.
consider that Drake May is the quarterback and Mike Vrabel's the coach. Like it's a pretty good team.
I would agree.
Tim in California says, as a former offensive lineman and lifelong football fan, I'm disappointed in the Patriots drafting a left tackle who needs to build strength but had great pass protection skills in a run-first Utah offense.
Yeah.
Will Campbell played through injury and has a mentality similar to Logan Mankins. Meanwhile, one of the knocks on Lomu is his attitude to punish people. I hope for the best, but 100% agree with Evan. We should have picked an edge at 31 and got Markel Bell in the 3rd round. And for Deuce, if you had to switch from left to right defense in hockey, how would that affect you?
No problem. I mean, you just slightly adjust. It doesn't.
Really?
I mean, it's basically, I would just say the breakouts and, both ends. So I'm playing on the wall. I got my stick on the left side. It's a little easier than if I'm on the right side, I got to catch it.
Often play. I don't know which
but
is which.
if you're
but I
going to play
think they
PP2, you got to be able
But
to
I think
handle
5 of their 6 are the
Should
same.
sniff
I think
after that, Deuce.
they're
Isn't-
5 left shots, I believe.
Isn't it easier
Well,
to
I-
play with your stick on the side of the boards though, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
technically it is,
yeah.
but it's not that hard to just catch it on your backhand
Yeah.
and pull it
Matt
over.
said something, but I didn't hear him.
Yeah.
What do you got, Maddie?
I was just making a joke. I said you should sniff after that, Deuce.
Oh.
Oh,
Well,
Right, I
the
was saying
Steelers pick is in at
play Pitts-
169, so the
Yeah.
Browns
Evidently-
are on the clock at 170, so the Patriots might actually be on the clock.
Yeah. Buffalo didn't want to own the 5th round, by the way. They traded the second one of
They
those.
did.
Uh,
They took the Kilgore guy. That's
Yeah, he's
Good name.
like a big nickel, and like I said earlier, I really liked him, but you have to have a role in mind for a player like that. Like if that role doesn't already exist in your defense, it's hard to just kind of create it out of thin air.
Evan, going into last year, thought Campbell was the best option among him, Membu, and Banks. Does he feel the same today? Each had pretty similar seasons, and Campbell finished poorly.
I think that yes, but realistically, probably maybe a little bit closer between Campbell and Banks. I mean, Membu played right tackle, and he played right tackle in college, and he played right tackle for the Jets. So I'm just kind of not counting that one as much. But Banks also didn't play the Chargers, the Texans, the Broncos in Seattle, and we didn't get to see the exposure of what he would have looked like against
After an injury.
4 of the best pass rushes in football. So
Did he get hurt last year? I hadn't heard that.
snarky.
Snarky Paul.
okay.
Yeah.
Don in Philly, with Vrabel not being available today, has Elliott reached out to Evan about selecting any of his my guys? Little
Good point.
disrespectful, if not.
Has he?
No, he has not.
No.
No,
He comfortably
The
has not
day's
done
young.
that.
The day's young.
I will
Can I
say
make the 7th round pick?
I will say
Might as well be
no
the
because
offensive
Nancy Meyer, I
coordinator,
think,
yeah.
is going to make a pick today. And, shout out Nancy Meyer. This is probably one of her, I mean,
Yeah.
this is, I think, it
One
for
of her
her.
last days, yeah.
51, seasons, been since 1974. One of my favorite moments of Super Bowl week was at the party, Paul. You and I went up to Nancy. We, took a great picture with her. And she's just been so sweet to me. I mean, she is the Patriots. It's like I look at her. I mean, her and Tip are the 2 that have been here for every single Super Bowl. And she's just such a wonderful person, and I'm,
So
wish her the best.
when we talk about all these things like 30 visits and when we pick these players and they come in and they come to the organization, Nancy Meyer is
Patriots
instrumental
are on the clock.
in helping with all the logistics of all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. She is a truly special person.
Even getting to the combine this year, where we all had to go through the snowstorm to
Yeah.
get to Indianapolis. Just organizing so that Elliott and the scouting staff could all get to Indianapolis, and all the different flights and rental cars and all the different things that that they had to jump through. I remember my first time flying on the plane, and the Patriots are on the clock, so this is a longer story. So let's.
Well,
we'll tell it
but just
later.
to, with Nancy, in all the, the 20 dark years of Bill where we were the enemy and you
Yeah.
couldn't talk to anyone and they
Yeah.
couldn't talk to you, she was always, nice and kind and always I love the newspaper, always making sure there were copies down there for everybody. So she wasn't, like the others.
Yeah, no, I mean, she didn't pick my to change my flight, but when I got to Indy, she was there, and she's like, "Hop in with us, Mike." She's a sweetheart. So
the pick is in for the Patriots. Who is it?
Yeah, I see who it is.
I have not seen it yet.
Let's see who it is. Position will be on the defensive side of the ball.
Oh yeah.
In the secondary.
Oh.
I'm buying time right now.
I was going to say,
somebody...
I thought we weren't saying.
No, I'm not going to tip it. I'll wait till we see it on Twitter. But
and I did.
This is the time though where it's just I don't, like I said, there's 3 positions I think they need at this point. BPA. If there's a guy at a position that's not even one of those, but you really like him, go for it.
Okay. So it should
People
be momentarily.
want a depth in this position, so you got your depth.
All right, so it's out by Jordan Schultz. It's Wake Forest cornerback Karen Prunty.
Yeah, I don't even think this guy's in the beast. I'm not going to lie to you, which is a first for Dane Brugler. I'm not super familiar with him either. I know that they had him in for a pre-draft visit, and there weren't many teams that had him in for visits. I think he only had a couple. He played some safety, if I remember correctly. So I don't know if he's going to be a corner or if he's going to be a safety at the next level. But this was a guy that we kind of were talking about, right? Cornerback depth, safety depth, maybe special teams. I would say most likely. Yeah. But definitely sort of a hidden gem.
What's the name again?
6'2".
Karen
Prunty.
Yeah, definitely more
6'2", 192. There is some film of him if you're interested from Wake Forest on the tweet machine. He had 4 visits during the pre-draft process, 1 with the Patriots.
So he is in the beast, but he's in there as a priority free agent, and he does not have a profile.
He's among the best of the rest, is he not? Because I'm looking at the cornerbacks, and he's not on my top 42.
Yeah,
list.
This is cornerback 57.
Yeah.
Again, this is just Dane's rankings.
Yeah.
And he has him as a UDFA grade in his, and doesn't even have strengths and weaknesses on the player.
And our lads, they rank from 10 to 0, and the lowest grade is a 2.5. He's at a 2.92. So
he's got to be a special teams guy with some traits that they think can contribute in special teams.
Yeah, 4.45 40, nothing too special, but it does look like he has some size to him. So
does he return kicks at all or anything like that?
We're gonna have to dig into that
I remember about him, because they did have him in for a pre-draft visit, was that he played a little bit of both safety and cornerback in college. So maybe special teams guy, maybe some depth on the roster at maybe both of those positions, one of those positions. I guess we'll see where they end up playing him, but someone that is pretty off the beaten path. They picked a guy that, when he doesn't even have a write up in the beast, then that's when you know that.
See, where like my thing instantly goes is now, like, we have people we work with who are scrambling to find highlights. Some random guy that was.
Yeah, this is going to be one that we're going to be hearing about this week.
Yeah, right. Matisse, if you're listening, don't text me for an expert analysis right now, as I'll be making it up off the top of my head.
I'm surprised a little bit, just the fact that there's some linebackers especially that are still on the board. Now they have 3 6-round picks, so maybe they feel like some of those linebackers are going to make it to them in the 6th round. But I don't know where this guy slots in terms of being able to contribute on the actual defense versus contributing on special teams. But whether it was Perkins, Aiden Fisher, Jack Kelly, Deontay Lawson, I know has some injury history. Red Murdoch from Buffalo. Like, those are all guys that people projected at that linebacker position that they thought were going to be able to be decent players. Even at safety, guys like VJ Payne is still available. Bishop Fitzgerald, Lewis Moore. So I thought that there was some guys that actually could still potentially contribute, on defense, that are still available, and they went with Prunty, who I'm not super familiar with.
Okay, well, it'll be interesting to hear. Is it Elliot that's going to talk today?
Yes.
So I'm sure that'll be the question. What do you know about this guy? Why do you like him?
Yeah.
Why did you pick him in the 5th round? So we'll see about that. So now the next pick is how long?
I think they're like 10th in the next round, so it's not too long. What
It
it now?
is.
We're 172, and they got to get to
191.
191. So about 19 picks.
Yeah, 10 picks in.
Yeah, we go 191, 198 in the next 2 picks.
Yep.
So we might make it to those, maybe.
I don't know.
But it is interesting. This is just another day 3 cornerback. Marcellus Dial, Kobe Minor. Now you add Prunty to that mix. Brandon Crossley was a practice squad guy last year. Can someone emerge from that group? Can someone? I thought last year Marcellus Dial actually was starting to show a little bit more in the slot.
This pick is like Kobe Minor to me.
Yeah.
In my mind, like probably has some physical traits.
Secondary.
They think he can play on special teams, and then we'll see. You know, like Marcellus Dial, and I know like people laugh at me because I'm so disinterested in like these kinds of things, but he developed into a really, really good guy on the punt team, like a really good vice guy.
Yeah.
And that was a hole that they thought enough to fill. I think that's kind of what led to Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
When they went out and got Charles Woods.
Yeah.
Early in the year, they needed a guy that could fill that kind of a role. You know, we'll see what kind of skills, Prunty has. I'm not. This is no question a guy that is not on my radar at all.
No.
I don't know anything about him.
Barely on Dane's radar.
Yeah, I'm not here to trash a pick of a player that I'm not familiar with.
You know what?
Believe me.
I'll say this, and because I rattled off some guys that I liked that were still available in this range. It's not quite this. I knew who Craig Woodson was and I knew a little bit more about him. But Craig Woodson was the one pick last year where I felt like they went off the beaten path and against consensus. He ended up being one of the best picks of the draft for them last year. I don't know if this is going to be Craig Woodson. I'm not saying that, but the Patriots, they have a little bit of rope with me because of the Craig Woodson thing that, maybe they see a player differently. They have a different evaluation, a different grade on him. And, they're higher on him than everybody else is.
It is funny, though, like Braves, like, what, you drafted who?
I would hope not.
No, good.
Stop.
Now, we'll see. But that's a position where they have a bunch of guys, but can any of them play? Can any of them contribute? I don't really know. Whereas, linebacker, to Evan's point, they don't really have a bunch of guys. Chad Muma,
I forgot about him.
Yeah, he's one we haven't really mentioned.
He was dressing late in the year.
Yeah, especially came in as a special teams guy, and he played a little bit. I mean, I think he was a little bit more highly touted. So, maybe they see some potential in him. I don't know, or at least some of the depth.
That's a good point, Mike. That's another element of the depth, because that's what you're looking for is another depth guy that can play special teams, and he was playing in that role late in the year.
Yep.
Maybe they liked what they saw.
Yeah, they still have those 3 6th-round picks, and some of the linebackers that I've been hyping up are still on the board, and they're still going.
And I'm not going to lie, because I'm so immature. When the Patriots sort of let go of Jack Gibbons and then decided to release Jelani Tavai, and one after another, breathlessly, this is a big need. This is a big need.
Yeah.
Like everybody, sort of overreacting to like depth linebackers. As a need. And then, we all, the 3 of us, kind of had some fun on April 13th when we had the Elliott Wolf pre-draft press conference, and he specifically said, "Yeah, we'll be looking at some of those day 3 linebackers."
Yeah.
And here we are in round 5 taking a cornerback that no one's really overly familiar with. Obviously, they didn't see it as big a need. As everybody else did.
And, whether it's, that big guy in the middle, like Tonga, or these linebackers that, we could use right now, you're going to be able to get them off the street.
There's always options. This isn't the end of it. Yeah.
Well, Tonga was a free agent. That was an unrestricted free agent. He wasn't off the street.
No.
Well, yeah, but he was a 7th-round pick that he was available, is what I'm saying.
No, he played for another team, and they didn't re-sign him.
Yeah.
It's like that's like an off-the-street free agent. The guy's out of the league, and you just doesn't have a job.
But there'll be people available.
Yeah. No, I agree with your premise about like you can find these guys.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I should.
And even a nose tackle too. I think like if they got out of the draft without one, and even at this point expecting a nose tackle they draft to come in and beat the Tonga guy and rotate, probably asking a bit much, but. There's always guys out there on the street that you can try to find, especially at that position where you really just need a 2-down run stuffer.
Specific role, a one-dimensional player, but that's all I need.
Yep.
I mean, even the nose tackles, like there's still guys out there.
Carl Davis, remember him? Like, was that his name? Carl Davis? He was the nose tackle most recently. Is that right? I feel like I'm confusing him with Carlton Davis.
Yeah, no, I know.
Is that his name?
98.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. There's still some nose tackles available that I liked, and like I said earlier, that position is just so specialized that they're not going to be high draft picks, right? When you're going to play a run stuffing nose tackle, unless it's like Caden McDonald and he's like a dude, like he's not.
Did you see him talking last night?
Yeah, he's going to be a good player.
I'm going to be showing everybody I'm the best player in this draft.
Yeah, but like the Godfather, Dante Corleone, Tim, the caller called in about Tim Keenan.
Yep.
These are all guys that might just make it to their picks in the 6th round.
Sure.
Some of these linebackers and nose tackles. Corleone had a blood clots issue earlier on in his college career, so maybe that has been a flag for some teams, has been flagged in the medical process, because I thought he was going to go ahead earlier than this, so maybe that is contributing there. Even some of the guys like Xavier Harris, who has some off-field stuff, Rashawn Benny, like there's still some guys on the defensive line too, so I think the 6th round still has some value in it.
Walker from the Berkshires. Let's get one thing straight. Our roster is pretty stacked right now. With the addition of A.J. Brown and a stronger run game, it's looking pretty good. But what's the biggest concern on offense?
If Drake May takes the leap forward in year 2 of the system that he needs to make.
It's mental.
Yeah. I think that to me will determine how good they are. How they handle this year. It's going to be a tougher year for them. They're probably going to have more injuries than they had last year. Games might not unfold all in their favor where they're up 10-0 and playing from a position of strength. So I think if Drake takes the step that they want him to take and that they think he can take, then I think that'll help him.
I think that they've done a really good job of filling a lot of holes in the roster. I would not call this roster stacked. And so my biggest concern would be what I talked about a half hour ago. You address the pass catchers. Does your addressing, the guys that you addressed, do they work? Mm-hmm. And in conjunction with that, do the guys that you have in place, we talked about how good everything was last year. Mike keeps talking about, you played a lot of games on your terms. Are those guys going to be as good as they were last year, or do they level off a little bit? And it starts with Drake. Mm-hmm. Drake was an MVP last year.
Yep.
Does he level off? Does he play better? Well, does he take a step back? Maybe everybody says, you know what? We saw in the playoffs that if you can sort of take away that deep stuff and make him do it in a different way and get in his face early in games, you can kind of get him. There's a lot of different things that can happen.
Yeah,
What are my concerns? My concerns are A.J. Brown's not A.J. Brown anymore, and Romeo Doubs is just a complementary piece.
Yeah.
Well,
those are my concerns.
I love that point, Paul, and I would say I do wonder if that's how teams view Drake, to say, take away the deep stuff from him, make him read it out, and take the underneath change, and he'll get bored.
The Patriots made it could this way. It could happen where the Patriots have not as good a record this year as last year, but they're a better team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Drake May could be a better quarterback this year, but not be an MVP candidate.
Yeah.
It could happen too.
I think more than it could happen. I think there's a very good chance that it does happen.
I would say if he plays better than he played last year, he'll be an MVP candidate again. Because he played at an exceptionally high level last year.
Yeah, and especially if he's going into Seattle, going into Kansas City, tearing up those teams,
these are just concerns because he asked for concerns. These are not things I'm expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like where the roster is. I like where they're headed. I think the arrow is pointing up. But he's asking for things that I would worry that he levels off a little bit and doesn't play as well as he did last year. Because he played so well last year, it's almost like, how could he possibly get better?
And what if he doesn't have
I still think it's the offensive line.
It's a good one too. That's a good one too.
They're all connected.
Because you are making me open my mind. Like Campbell, if he doesn't play the first way he did the first 14 weeks of the season, if he doesn't take a step forward, Vera Tucker's got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Jared Wilson's moving into center. We think he's going to be better at center than he was at guard.
We don't know.
But we don't know if he's going to be better than Bradbury was at center.
Right. And, then with Morgan Moses, 35 years old.
Right.
So
does he play 17 games?
Does he play 17 games? Does he play at the same level? Does Lomu have to play more than you want him to have to play as a rookie?
Yeah.
I hear what all you guys are saying about Drake May, but I think Drake May established himself that he's going to be playing at a pretty high level.
Me too. But Mike is right. They're all connected.
Yeah.
You could make an argument that Drake May played fine in the playoffs, but he had less time to do it. Or you can make an argument and said the offensive line was the same all year, but Drake made them look better than they were in the regular season. He couldn't do that in the playoffs. Depends on your perspective.
Yeah.
But it's all related.
Right, and you can
all that's
compensate
related.
for if the offensive line isn't quite as good, but A.J. Brown and Dobbs are excellent, and then that's going to offset some of it.
Makes
but,
you look better.
You know, how does it all fit
Or
together?
you could play the law of averages and be a real downer and say everything worked out last year. The odds are everything's not going to work out.
And unfortunately, Fred, like I'm not going to say that it's not going to work out, but it's going to be towards the middle. It's going to be more in the middle of the pack.
And that's your theory of you could be better this year than you were last year and not win as many games.
Right.
To me, that's schedule related.
Right.
Yep. Their schedule is
And
is
injury
much
related.
is much harder and injury related too. Yeah. Yeah. Their schedule is much harder, and they're going to be playing a much better team.
Russell in Florida, I was really hoping that we would jump back into the fourth, but I'm assuming that they feel the talent left isn't worth the move. That being said, do you think that by the 6th round, they start using picks on UDFA guys that they like? Do you think Talon Green could be on their radar at 171, or if he slips to the 6th?
Well, I think Kayron Prunty might have been a guy that was closer to UDFA.
Yeah.
And, they talked about the drop-off in this draft. I mean, the fact that that's happening in the 5th round is...
Well, I just thought of something. What Elliott said, we don't have Mike Vrabel to do the recruiting for these UDFA. We better, maybe they're thinking we might as well get them now and not have to recruit them.
Do you have your numbers on your fancy little geek chart?
For what?
I'm sorry,
For what?
depth chart.
Yes. For what? What number?
The number, like how many players are currently on the roster?
Oh, geez, Paulie.
We haven't added
I
them
can
yet.
tell. Actually, hold on. Give me 10 seconds.
All right, yeah, effort that. I'm going to throw this one to you, Ev, while Mike's doing his geek count.
Yes.
Emailer just brought up Talon Green. Are you interested in a quarterback here in any of these last 4 picks?
I'd be fine with it. I think the backup quarterback thing always goes one way. Talon Green's like a raw ball of clay, right? That's a developmental pick. That's Joe Milton.
Yeah.
Is what that is.
I just meant the position in general.
Yeah, I think that I get that they count on Tommy DeVito and they feel good about Tommy DeVito, but I'd have no problem with it. Like, but the question is do you go with a guy like Talon Green who's Joe Milton? I mean, maybe not with the arm talent, but the mobility and the size and all the physical tools, or the kid from UConn who's like more of like that's just going to be Chase Daniel. Like that's going to be your classic NFL backup quarterback for the next 10 years. I think he had 1 pick the entire season last year. That's going to be that type of player. Which direction would you rather go in terms of, getting, I guess if you feel good about DeVito, like maybe you take the chance on the upside.
That's another great name, Hezekiah Massis.
I liked him. I had him on the big board. I really liked him. I thought he was really smooth in his pedal, silky smooth hips.
Raiders.
Flip and run. Maybe not as good in man coverage right now, but I thought he was a really good zone corner already.
Do you have a number?
I think
for
I'm
me,
at
Mike?
72.
So 72
before the draft. So 76 with the 4 draft
72
picks.
with 8 picks, right?
Oh yeah. That they haven't.
But you haven't counted any draft picks yet.
I didn't count. I just did 72.
So 72 with
before
no draft picks.
With
So
no
that's,
draft
so that's
picks.
80. So there is still room for some new DFAs.
Yeah.
Get 10 more spots.
I'm gonna double check that though. So,
No, but I mean it's you're talking 8 to 10 spots.
Yeah.
Like whether it's exact or not. So yeah, I mean I guess there is some room. I was kind of thinking they wouldn't have a tremendous amount of room for UDFAs this year because of the increase of the caliber of the roster. You're in a better spot than you were last year, but you still have room for some.
That's how I feel too with 11 draft picks going into the draft.
Yeah.
It just felt like a lot, especially in a draft with less talent like this one, and they seemed like they kind of agreed because they traded their 2 4th-round picks to move up in the first 2 days and kind of consolidated the picks a little bit.
Don in Philly, everyone is saying that the AFC East is cooking in this draft. I'm not worried about the Jets or Dolphins, but the Bills seem to be stockpiling slot receivers with the move tight ends on their roster. What is their goal?
Yeah, I don't love.
Evan had some commentary.
I don't
on this.
love some of the. I don't love some of the stuff that the Bills have done. I don't hate it, but I don't like. I would have looked for more of a dynamic presence at the receiver position than just another slot kind of guy. But I do think the Jets have had a nice draft, and we talked a lot about the Jets yesterday.
Yeah,
I think and it's a big if because he's coming off a horrific season, if Geno Smith gives them passable quarterback play, I think they have the makings of a decent offense, and they're trying to rebuild the defense on a fly after really gutting it last year with Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner and all those guys leaving. I think if Geno Smith has a decent year, I don't think them knocking on the door of 6, 7 wins. In other words, not just 2 that you just pencil in automatic like you did this year.
Yeah.
Because they were so bad this year, they weren't beating you. Next year, I could see them being in a position where if you don't take them seriously and you don't show up to play, you could be in some trouble.
Can I bring up one other position we haven't talked about is quarterback? Like, do they need a third quarterback here in one of these last
When you were
picks?
counting your geek chart, I transitioned to Evan, and I did.
You just talked about that?
Because
sorry.
because the emailer just said Taylor Green with one of these picks down here.
Yeah, okay.
I was thinking like a Haynes King, which
Yeah.
kind of like my
Sorry, I
Tebow with
wasn't
the ability
So
to throw the
Garrett
ball.
Nussmeier is still available for some reason. Maybe the back thing is why he's not drafted
Yeah,
yet.
I'm surprised by that because I thought he was more talented than a lot of guys that have gotten taken.
Me too. Taylor Green is, we just talked about. Cole Payton is kind of in the same category as Joe Fagano from UConn, as like pure backup.
The only
type
one
of
I want no
quarterbacks.
part of is the North Dakota State kid.
That's
The
Cole
lefty.
Payton.
The lefty. I don't like him at all. I don't get it. And this will be my Greg Bedard moment. When he turns out to be a
he's gonna
stud,
get drafted in the.
when he turns out to be a stud, you guys can
This
throw
is
this
up.
back
Hour
at me.
40
He might
into
be UDFA.
day
It's
3.
rare to find guys when you watch their highlights that you're not impressed with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From
And
the
I watched
highlights.
his highlights and I was like, oh, okay, there was nobody there and he ran for a touchdown. Okay.
The Haynes King one's interesting.
Haynes King I love
Like,
as a college player.
I think Haynes King's kind of Taysom Hill. Like, I don't know if he's like actually
Yes.
a quarterback.
No.
Taylor Green might not be a quarterback. Like,
He's a hair better than Tebow as a passer.
yeah, like Haynes
He's
King
not a-
is.
not a
They
polished
ran
thrower.
triple option. They run the ball a ton, and
But
he
unbelievable
uses-
heart.
Taylor Green. Some people think, I said, remember Terrell Pryor? Like Terrell Pryor, switched to wide receiver and actually had a couple good years as a wide receiver. If it doesn't work out for Taylor Green at quarterback, he could potentially do that. So do you want to do that thing with the athlete, or do you want like Diego Pavia, who's going to be a 10-year backup in the league?
Right. Pavia is going to be one of those guys that I think could cause some issues as a backup with his mouth.
Oh.
Yeah. He's
likes himself.
he's extremely self-confident, and I think that could cause issues as a backup.
Yeah.
Another tremendous
Joe
college
Milton.
player, though.
Yeah. Let's see. Scott says it was nice of the Patriots to let Bill make the pick at 171.
Good.
That's funny.
At the 855 Pats 500, the hotline, James is in North Carolina. What's up, James? James in North Carolina.
Hymus.
Has a player from North Carolina been drafted yet?
Not that I'm aware of.
I believe Jordan Hudson's still available.
Check by college here. Let's go.
Serious.
Oh, that Jordan.
There's a player named Jordan Hudson. You didn't know this?
No.
It's been like all over
From
Twitter
North
for, like-
Carolina?
No.
Oh, well, who cares then?
I don't remember this being a big
No,
North Carolina
no.
draft
Thaddeus
here.
Dixon, Marcus Allen, and Daniel
why that
King
is.
have all not been
Because
drafted
they all
yet.
transferred out on him, Ev. Don't
Okay.
you listen to Lombardi?
I was gonna say, okay, Mike Lombardi.
Anthony in Seattle. Do you guys think that attitude/nastiness is a bigger factor on defense and athleticism is more important on a modern day offense? That could explain the first 3 picks.
A little bit. That's what I thought last night. I mean, I'd much rather have an offensive player that you're like, we got to bring some of that out in him than a defensive player. I think that's just more traditionally. Usually, the defensive guys are a little bit tougher, but there's always those guards that we talked about last night too.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's toughness on both sides of the line for sure.
Yeah.
But I need athletes on defense too. Is there a better athlete on the Patriots than Christian Gonzalez?
No.
No, there isn't.
Poetry in motion.
I still feel like
I need athletes
when
on
we
that side
watch
of the ball,
practice,
too.
he moves different than everybody else on the team.
Yeah.
And in a good way. Like that's not a bad thing.
I
but
just don't want to get
Fluid.
carried away with the Vrabel thing of the
I'm
violence,
really trying very hard
the
not to do
violence,
that.
and if he's not violent, then I what do we do?
Right,
You
and
know,
everybody seems to be
look,
fixating on
you
that
know,
on the
just
first round
look,
pick.
I get it. It's a type. They like it. They want to play with that style. But you can also incorporate players who maybe aren't innately always driving guys into the ground and giving extra business.
No
and a
one
couple
did any
shots,
research
you know?
on the excellent lineman who was more technical than physical.
What do you mean?
We were talking about, were there some great linemen who were known for their technical
I should have
skills
done that
rather
while I was
than-
trying to sleep last night. That would have
yes,
probably put me to bed.
I feel like I have a couple, but I also feel like it's doing them a disservice to say that they didn't
I
have
know
any
what you mean
nasty.
because I'm thinking of like Hall of Fame tackles.
Like Joe Thomas. Like Joe Thomas was an absolute technician.
That's one of them. I was thinking like Jonathan Ogden, Orlando. Like these guys were so good with their technique. Trent Williams. Trent Williams has a nasty streak.
He sure
to him.
does. Yeah.
But he's so good. He's almost never out of position, and you don't need to be. You know what I mean? You don't need to be like one of these guys that's like playing to the echo. Of the whistle.
Right. Getting a couple shots in.
Your guy, your favorite guy, Tyron Smith.
Yeah.
Right. Like
He made it look easy.
yeah, when you're really good and you're really skilled,
You don't
it
have
doesn't
to
look
do the
like you're
stupid
nasty.
stuff. Yeah, right.
He made it look easy.
Right.
But those guys were nasty too.
Yeah.
I think Evan put it right. You don't want to give. It's like a disservice to them.
We always called it extra business in hockey. Like the guys who, there's this one senior defenseman who didn't play much, and so he's always kind of scrappy. And just every practice, like, man, Whitey, his name's John White. Whitey's giving extra business, like in front of the net. It's like, just stop. Like, what are you doing? Like just like the
Your
cross
nickname
checks in
was
the back.
Whitey? That's
But,
tough.
yeah, John White.
Hey, Whitey,
yeah,
where's your hat?
Whitey. Yeah, I know.
That's
Everyone
tough.
called him Whitey.
It's a tough nickname.
How'd you do that?
Zach and Chelmsford, thank you.
Where's your hat?
Thank you for the amazing coverage through the weekend. When we talk about Yakis being a violent edge player,
Akis.
what?
Akis. We're gonna get it right.
Akis.
We're gonna get there.
Akis and
We
Lumo.
talk about Akis being a violent edge player. Can we break down what makes him different than Keon White?
Oh,
I'd
I think
say
he moves better.
Yeah.
light. Well, he's certainly lighter. I mean, Keon White was 280 pounds. Akis is 260. Lighter on his feet.
More bend to him. Keon White was
Yeah.
just very stiff. It was right into the, just bull rush every time. And sometimes he got him, especially with guards. That's
Yeah.
when he was effective, when he could run into a guy and just push him back into the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that Akis is bendy. Like, he's not a speed rusher.
No.
He's not a bendy rusher necessarily.
Yeah,
but
I would agree.
He's 20 pounds lighter than Keon White.
Well, he had
so
11 sacks last year. Keon White never had that
no.
in his years.
No, and and Keon White was a project. You didn't know exactly
He was
how
a
he fit, and
tweener.
it didn't
He
work out.
was going in, and he remained that way.
Did you guys watch him at all with San Fran? I know he had a couple plays. He got shot
He had a
too. I
couple
hope
plays,
he's okay.
yeah.
But it seemed like it wasn't like they unlocked
No,
him either.
no.
He had a great face. He looked the part.
Oh, he was a
I saw
mean
somebody
dude.
first guy off the bus, but it never added up for me.
Tim in California, subject line, stop being nice to Elliott.
Oh.
Looks like Karen Prunty, it's not Punty,
Karen Prunty.
was on the radar of the Green Bay Packers. He barely played at Kansas before transferring to Wake Forest. Why didn't we pick Aiden Fisher from Indiana or Adam Randall from Clemson? Is Elliott making good decisions?
I mean, they still have 3 more picks in the 6th round, so I'm not going to get upset about something they haven't done yet. Let's see what their picks are in the 6th round. This pick was definitely a little bit weird. Now, I'll go full Belichick on you. It is the 5th round. The 5th round is the least valuable round of the entire draft.
Why is that?
Just the way the drop-off works in the draft. Once you get outside the top 150, now you're in that, as Deuce likes to call it, like a donut between guys that are UDFA grades and then guys that have late round grades on them. So it's the least valuable draft round. So there you go. There's your Cole Payton to the Eagles.
Good luck, Philly.
Howie just.
Thank
Bill
God
always
the
used to
Patriots
draft the
didn't pick him
special
because I wasn't
teamers.
prepared for that.
Bill always used to draft the special teamers in this round. He always used to draft his
Matthew Slater.
long snappers, coverage aces, like all that different type of stuff, because it analytically is the least valuable round of the draft.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We're almost out. Like, see the NE. This is such a familiar thing for me watching the draft when you finally see the little NE at the end of the ticker and it's slow.
The problem is that they have 191 and 198, so they have picks in quick succession coming up here.
Yeah.
Then 212.
So you're telling me we're going beyond 4 o'clock, aren't you?
That's not my call. That's
least.
his call.
We should probably stay for those 2 picks.
Yeah.
Butch in Dorchester, assuming we
done you
get
go home.
A.J. Brown, a run-stopping nose tackle, a linebacker, and a punter
It's a lot.
with
I
what
love
they
the
have
punter.
left.
I really don't want to draft a
See,
punter. Am I okay
this
with
is
that?
another thing. What would you say then is the biggest position? So here's the thing. Forget about the A.J. Brown. If you're going to get a run-stopping nose tackle in free agency, okay. But if you think you're going to fill needs with what's left, and they're going to come in and play and make an impact this year, that's a reach.
Oh, yeah.
That's a reach. Just because you draft a position in the 6th or 7th round, that's not filling a need. That is not filling a need. that's just adding bodies to camp.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, we're not filling needs at this point in the draft.
No.
Now, if they draft somebody in the 6th round that people like me, the losers like me, or Dane or whatever felt like were actually really good value in the 6th round, it happens. I mean, Booty and Pop are examples of guys that outperform their draft stock. So I'm not
good 6th round value. Both of those.
I don't write off the 6th round. I mean, obviously Mike Onwenu is great. Tom Brady is Tom Brady. But. It does happen. So I'm not.
It does, of course, it does.
But they didn't draft Keyshawn Booty and Demario Douglas and say we address wide receiver.
As of right now, as of this moment, if you feel the Patriots still have a need or needs, you're going to have to do it in free agency if you want to help it this year. And it's probably not a permanent fix. It's just a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
So that's now every once in a while you do find that diamond in the rough in the late rounds, and it happens. But it usually doesn't happen right away. It takes a year or so for that person to emerge.
I would say it usually happens because of red flags that are outside of like their actual skill on the field. Pop Douglas went to Liberty. He's 5'8", slot receiver that went to Liberty and played at a smaller school. Keyshawn Booty had the ankle injury in college and had a bad way about things in college at LSU. So like Keyshawn Booty, talent-wise, was not a 6th round pick. He just had the ankle. He had some off-field stuff, and so it knocks him down in the round to the 6th round. If you take a flyer, I'll give you an example. Harold Perkins hasn't been drafted yet. So if you take a flyer on a guy like Harold Perkins in the 6th round, he might hit because he has the talent. He just has some question marks.
What do you got,
Sorry,
Freddie?
Fred. I was just going to say, I just look real quick at of current available nose tackles, and there's a bunch of old guys out there that you can get on a 1-year deal, like DJ Readers of the world, Daquan Jones. I mean, nobody who's going to be a long-term addition, but
Band-Aids.
much more to grab a guy like that on a 1-year deal.
That's what Freddie was talking
about.
about.
Right.
Yeah.
To draft, like you said, Fred, draft a 6th rounder.
Exactly what they did with Tonga.
You can always get a nose guy. Well, that was, but again, like Tonga was like a first day of free agency signing. This is like we can just get a guy.
Yeah.
Like.
I mean, he's probably going to be 32 and, not going to be the answer forever, but
I still like some of the nose tackles.
Yeah.
Like, give me Corleone.
Dante.
Give me Corleone in the 6th
Corleone
round.
that would be nice. I would like
Give me the Godfather in the 6th round.
Yeah.
Don't need a nose tackle after that. He's got it.
Yeah.
As long as the
There'd be a lot of
blood
Paul
clots
jokes if they got.
I'm worried about the blood clots. The blood clots is, I think, why he's still on the board.
We'll just be making all kinds of derogatory comments about Italians, and no one will have any care about it.
We got to get the Godfather.
On the day of my daughter's wedding.
Exactly. See, everybody will be doing stuff like that.
You asked me to stop the run.
What, we can't do that?
Let's see what happens if it's another nationality.
All right. You can make fun of the Scottish. Make fun of the Scottish.
Without repercussions?
That's a bad example.
That's a very bad example.
I was going to say, I'm Scottish. You can make fun of the Scottish all you want. Head, boots, now.
All over the world.
Ned in North Carolina.
Little Nettie.
Wants to go back to the furniture draft. Furniture draft.
Oh, yeah.
Did you put a patio swing chair on the list? It's a solid top 3 for me.
That's nice. That's relaxing. You have a,
I
do you have a
don't-
chair
I'd rather
out there,
have a
Paul, by
hammock.
your pool?
I don't live in a mansion.
No, you don't have anything that
I
rocks?
don't have room for a
outside?
patio swing
No.
chair. No, but I think we need to make a distinction between indoor and outdoor furniture too.
Yeah.
And then
That's
exactly,
fair.
we got to identify furniture. Like
Yeah.
I'm not big on the TV as part of your furniture. Like
Yeah.
it's a sofa, it's a love seat, it's a recliner.
Yeah, I will say I don't feel I've found the truly perfect piece of outdoor furniture that I really love and am comfortable in and can just go and sit out on the deck and relax. Like I haven't found that great
Here's
piece
the
yet.
thing. Like, Paul puts his cushions in every night.
I know. I respect it.
I can't do that.
No, my cushions
So
are
if you're not going to do that, you have to buy like these.
Oh no,
The
I have
cushions are more
covers, right?
expensive,
Guys,
literally,
buy
than the
your cushions
furniture.
on the
I don't put the cushions in every night. I put a cover over the whole sofa every night so
every
it doesn't
night.
get wet.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, but I don't put the cushions in.
All right. Well, you cover them up every night.
I don't let them get wet.
That's
Well,
a
they're
responsible.
supposed to get
I wish
wet.
I
It's
could do
outdoor
it.
furniture.
No, but then you sit on it, you get soaked.
I
Yeah,
know, but if
I
you got-
respect
no,
it.
but what
I-
I'm saying,
I'm team
no,
Paul.
Who wants to sit
no,
there?
I don't,
No,
Get
you're
on my
right.
ass.
You're right.
Come on.
And that's what
What are you
happens
doing?
because I have the cheap pillows.
Yeah.
But if you buy the really expensive pillows, the water just wicks right off. It doesn't absorb.
Oh.
So I have a little
moldy.
Right.
I have a little bar set outdoor,
Sorry.
like it's like the wicker material.
Yeah.
When that gets wet, it doesn't feel like it's wet,
Right.
but it's soaked. You sit on that, you got to like tip it, and all the
Yeah,
water comes
and the
out.
water comes out.
But then it dries up right away once you do that. But then you sit down, you get the
Yeah,
wet
but
ass. No one wants
like the
wet
cushions
ass.
I have, like they're supposed to be water resistant. They're not waterproof.
No.
And if it really rains, they're going to get wet, and it takes. You have to take them and put them on their edge and wait for them to dry out.
Yeah, right. That's what I
But
do.
they make these really the cushions are like over $300 each.
Piece of water, no.
And the water just
You can do it in plastic.
it's like a raincoat.
But are they comfortable? Are they like plastic?
Yeah, no, it's not plastic. It's but like I said, if you have a couch with 3 cushions and 3 back cushions, that's 6 times 3.
You're speaking my language, Fred.
That's
I'm in
$1,800
this
just
struggle
for
every day.
cushions.
I know, and then there's like leaves get blown in, and it's all gross. I wish I had a cover to do it like you do, because so much time I spent. I want to go sit outside. Oh, it rained yesterday. They're sopping. I got to do Fred's thing and flip them on the side
I
and
have a cup,
drip,
like
drip,
I have
drip.
like one of those little outdoor kind of gazebo things. Not like a real, not a
Grotto?
permanent
Grotto.
gazebo. No, not a grotto, Mike. I don't know why your mind goes there.
What are we talking about?
It was
So
from
there-
the
there is a-
COVID shows.
There is a
Day
cover.
3.
There is a cover over, and then I put a cover on top of the rattan sofa set.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
really think that's that rare.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I think it's smart, Paul. I wish I had that, but
Now,
yeah.
most overrated outdoor furniture is the Adirondack chair.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uncomfortable.
Not comfortable.
They're
That's
uncomfortable.
what I
Looks
mean.
Thank you,
nice.
Fred. Thank you, Fred
Yeah,
Kirsch.
yeah.
looks nice,
I
but
need-
uncomfortable.
I need an outdoor recliner that's like weatherproof and that I can just sit and relax. And it's the couches are too small. Things are too
Now, do
flat.
you guys have fire pits?
I do.
Yeah,
I have a
I do
gas
not have
fire
a fire
pit.
It's a gas fire pit.
No,
Yeah.
no, I got a fireplace.
It's got like a glass top.
Yeah, I have one of those with the pebbles in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's-
but the
It's a waste
glass,
of time. Yeah.
the blue
Yeah.
glass.
Does it give off heat?
really.
A little heat, but you don't use it for heat. It's just kind of like
Roast marshmallows?
It's more like ambiance.
Yeah.
It's
The mood.
it's more like
What's the mood?
it's more like a bunch of college kids sitting around and
Drinking Natty Light.
beer at my house,
Right.
Like just to annoy me.
I just like the fire pit because then you smelled like fire instead
fire.
So that's the good part of the gas
me
fire
away from
pit.
that.
You don't
You
smell.
don't
Keep me
smell.
away
You
from
don't smell
that. Yeah.
because that's a smell you can't get rid of for
No,
like
yeah.
3 days.
Oh, no.
No, I,
No,
Like if you
not
had
for
like
me then.
if you had a hoodie at a like you forget that you'd have
Yeah.
to wash it 3 times to get the smell out of it.
The smell was good.
I do like the smell.
Um,
I burn the fire.
Oh,
John-
I
I
like
burn the wood
sitting
stuff.
Other
when
things.
you sit around a fire. I like that smell. I
Yeah.
don't like the way I smell the next
You
day
can't
after
just-
sitting
Or
around.
I'm
then
gonna
the
throw
wind
this
changes
question.
and you get all that
I
smoke
was
in
more
your face.
thinking like in high
I
school,
love fuzzy bunnies.
you know, you smell like fire instead of smelling like
booze.
Ass.
yeah.
Well, I know what he was doing.
So,
You were burning down the woods, and Evan was out back smoking the evil weed.
Whoa.
So I was a law-abiding citizen. I just drank.
No, I appreciate
Back
Alex's-
when you were in high school, 18 was the drinking age. So
That
it
is
was,
not. That is
was
not
it
true.
really?
That is not true. But it
When
was
did they make that?
a good shot.
When did it
I
go
believe
back
I
up to
was
21?
in. Fred might have been. You might have been 18.
It changed while I was in high school.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, jeez.
so the night before it happened,
Were you grandfathered in or
me
were
and Doug Carey convinced my mother to buy us 10 cases of beer. And we went down to Smuggler's Beach and sold them, 1 bottle at a time for $2 each
Oh,
and made a
man.
fortune that night. 'Cause
Smart.
He
everyone-
always had an angle.
Smart.
Kirsch.
I thought he
always
was
had
going to
an
say,
angle.
and that was my
This is
beer
why
for the
he's
next
good
2
at his
years.
Job. He's always scheming, businessman over there.
Evan's explanation for why 5th-round picks are less valuable than later-round picks didn't really add up. Is the idea that 5th-rounders cost noticeably more than 6th-rounders without offering a meaningfully higher chance of success.
Yeah, it just the talent is just leveled off at this point of the draft.
But you're paying more for them.
Yeah, exactly. And
You,
so
you left that part out.
Oh, okay.
But
well,
it's
sorry.
not like a tremendous amount more. It's not.
All I know is,
P-
and I could have
Pistons
probably
lost
done
by
a
the
better
way, yeah.
job of explaining it, but all I know is that Bill used to always draft the special teamers in the 5th round.
And I would say
And
that
the
Bill
argument-
has been outspoken in favor of what Evan said.
Yeah, and the argument that he used to use of the reason why he did that is because it was analytically the least valuable round of the draft.
The 2 rounds Bill always talked about as being sort of different, with a 3rd round and the 5th round. The 3rd round, he used to say, oftentimes had a lot of 1st-round talent in it that had questions, whether it be injuries, character issues, some kind of weird circumstance that caused a guy that had the talent to go in the first round to drop to the third round. In the fifth round, I just think was more about what Evan's talking about in terms of value. I don't know exactly why it was. Maybe it is money related, but I don't like. Is there really that great of a difference salary wise between a fifth and sixth rounder?
Right. No.
So Cahal in Galway, Ireland, has the same question. He doesn't understand the logic of why it's easier to find value in the sixth round than the fifth round. It's because of the way you have to pay fifth rounders as opposed to sixth rounders.
But is there?
I'll do some more digging on the
difference.
actual reasoning behind this for Tuesday's PU, and I'll have a better rationale for it. I've always just kind of taken Bill Belichick and other people smarter than me at their word for it.
Go into one of those GBTs and say, what's the most valuable round in the NFL? What's the least valuable round in the NFL?
All right. So let me do this.
And while you're doing that, we'll go to Noah in Toronto. What's up, Noah? Noah, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, we can.
Okay, yeah, thanks for all the content. So one thing I've been reading a lot about Caleb Lomu is that he's not a nasty enough player, and I was wondering if you guys think that's a legitimate concern, or is that kind of just a hard-out coach thing? Because I don't know. In my mind, it's like if he can block the guy in front of him, I don't care if he knees him in the groin after he gets him.
I think that's maybe like when you talk about like nasty and finish, we're talking about play strength. It's not. I'm not saying that he's got to go and like beat people up, right? I'm talking about can he create movement in the run game? Can he get on a block and can he drive a guy off the ball? I didn't necessarily see that kind of power in the run game to him. Doesn't mean he can't and can eventually get to that point. I'm not necessarily talking about like he's going out there and
it's a great description. I totally agree. I think you get lost in the is he the stuff that people loved about Will Campbell early last year when he was driving guys into the ground.
I was thinking of the play in the preseason game when he drove a guy like 10 yards downfield. That's just kind of a nasty streak. I'm not saying that you have to have that.
No, but it's Evanston because that directly correlates to playing the position.
I think nasty a lot of times gets confused with dirty. And I don't think it's the same.
Paul.
Do tell. Anyway, I just did a chat GPT.
Are you nasty or dirty?
Thing on
it's a Microsoft Copilot on this program.
Okay. The fifth round is an average of 4.6 million to 4.78 over 4 years. The sixth round is 4.4 million to 4.6 million over 4 years. So it's not a money thing. It's not a money thing, and they're not guaranteed in either regard. So it's not about salary.
So then what is it?
I don't have a good answer for you.
I'm going to have to do more research on this.
I don't have a good answer.
Because logically, the higher you pick the person, the better they should be.
Maybe there's more chances taken in the fifth round.
The only other thing that I can think of is that, and I don't think this is the case as much anymore, but the Patriots used to have a notoriously small draft board. Like they used to have under Bill, they might only have like 100 guys on the entire draft board. Most teams have like double that. So maybe at this point in the draft, they kind of have run out of draftable players.
Could be.
And so they're looking at it saying,
depends on how big the Rutgers class.
It was one of your guys, Deuce, wasn't it?
Who that? Oh, Zane Durant. Yeah. I think he's more of an upfield kind of guy.
Small.
He's not going to be the nose tackle. But I pulled this tweet up. I think you referenced it earlier, Paul. Hall of Famers by what round they were drafted. I thought this was interesting. A little bit into the reference. First rounders 137. Second rounders 38. Third rounders 28. Fourth rounders 12. Fifth round 8. Sixth round 4. Seventh round 10. Eighth round and later 28. Of course, draft used to be a lot longer. And undrafted 22.
Yeah. So I would just say like the eighth round and later and the undrafted. There's a lot more of those.
Yeah. Right.
Than first rounders. Do you know what I'm saying?
100%.
There's an infinite amount of undrafted free agents that can make the league every year. There's only 32 first round picks that make the.
Yep.
So.
But But 137 in the first round, and then you drop to 38 and below.
That's a big drop.
That's a huge. That's 100 guys.
Yeah.
99.
The draft used to be 12 rounds back in the day.
Was that ever when you guys?
There were times it was even longer than that. But I mean, Troy Brown was an 8th round pick.
Yeah. Was it 7 when you started here? Was it down to 7 when you started?
I think it was down to 7 when I started. Yeah. Troy was 93. And I think it was shortly after that they cut it to 7. I think the first draft that I covered was 7 rounds.
Be a long show.
Did you know that the New England, I think it was the Boston Patriots back then, drafted Fran Tarkenton?
Really?
Yeah.
I did
But
not
he
know
chose
that.
to go to the Giants.
You know, it was another interesting one I didn't know they drafted was Steve McMichael, Mongo.
I knew that
was a
one.
huge part of the Chicago Bears, and I was like, what? I didn't realize that. And then it seemed like he never quite caught on here. They didn't quite get his personality. Then he went to Chicago. He was able to be part of that great 46 defense. And yeah, that was one because, I mean, he's out of there in like 2 years. It was, and went on to this great career.
All right, so where are we?
Taylor Green just
Taylor
went
Green, first pick of the 6th round.
to Cleveland. Oh, put a tent on that quarterback circus.
Wow. They picked another quarterback?
Yeah.
They feel like if they're gonna just throw as many darts at that position, and like maybe they'll get Tom Brady in the 6th round. Like I feel like that's their mindset.
But they
That's
probably
wild.
won't. There's Paul's guy, Cole Payton. Doesn't look like he's throwing it
Paul, I
accurately.
mean, that looks like a pretty good throw, Paul.
Oh, yeah. He actually looks like he has big arms.
Great biceps.
Yeah.
So I got a feeling like 6th, 7th round, you're going to see some weird picks from
Yeah.
a lot of different teams.
Yeah, I'm curious.
I think the Patriots just kind of
glad to see we got 2 NEs on the tracker right now. So
Deuce is tracking the
I love
NE.
that. I love that. No, I think back to the days. I really did enjoy the draft when it was the weekend, and I would just make a weekend out of it and make food and have friends come over, and you just kind of the excuse to just sit there and eat food and kind of
When
watch
I started
football in
with
April.
Fred, it was the Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
It was 1, 2, and
Yeah.
3 on Saturday, and then 4 to 7 on Sunday. When I was a kid, it was during the week, during the day, and that's when I went all Evan.
Yeah.
And I geeked out, and I used to fake being sick so I could stay home from school and watch the draft. I did it twice.
Ball knower.
My father caught on the second.
Oh, he
year.
did?
Yeah.
Yeah, the draft today.
Second, because I would do it. My father would go to work, and then I would go to my mother. Yeah, I'm not feeling well, and I would stay. I would just sit in my room and I'd watch the draft all day.
You pulled a Ferris Bueller.
And
for
then the
draft.
second year when that happened again, my father's gone, doesn't realize it's happening, and he was like, "Wait a minute, you did this last year too." No, I know what you're doing, and that was it. I think we took.
Evan
Tony-
would have been like,
I think
"That's my boy.
I think
Let's
the
stay
year
home
we got like
together."
Tony Collins in the second round. I was like home. It might have been like the tip draft too.
Yeah.
It was in that era. It was like 82,
82,
83, somewhere in that vicinity.
Some good drafts in that era.
Faking being sick to watch the draft.
Yeah. I've told this story before, but I never forget just the thought in my brain of being like, it'd be so cool to be able to like sit in front of the computer and just be on the internet and be on my computer while I'm on the TV. It's still hardline dial up. You'd have to be over in the other room.
I need to make a phone call.
Yeah, right. But the imagination of Wi-Fi being like, that'd be so cool. I can like do my little blogs and everything.
I have to be honest. I wouldn't even have known when the draft was until after college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Now
swear
I
to God.
contemplate calling in sick to miss the draft.
No, I swear. I was too busy playing sports.
Yeah. I didn't watch it before like 2006. I mean, it wasn't like
I was
a daily
watching it in
thing.
2006, and I was like 10.
Well, that's like I was like.
It was when I really got
maybe
into the
middle school when
Patriots.
I
It
was
wasn't
doing
like
the
I'm a
fake
fan of the
sick
league
thing.
and I want to see where 2006 I'd say is where I really watching the draft, sitting there,
I would
Well, that's
say
smart.
like 4th or 5th grade, and then back then like that's when like they started having the YouTube stuff where like draft breakdown and stuff like that, and they would just have these cut ups of players. TV copy where it was just like 4 or 5 minutes of just all their snaps, and you could just watch the guy play a game all the way through. And I used to just all sit there and just watch like as many guys as I possibly could. I didn't like take notes or anything back then. I just like knowing the names and schools and stuff like that.
But you get like there wasn't the prolific draft coverage you had on the internet, but you get that like draft magazine finally, and going through that, I would love that. But when that would finally hit the newsstand, I'd be so excited to, go through the prospects. And,
back then, like, guys like Mel Kiper, and I know he gets a lot of credit for this from everybody, but like he obviously started it.
Well,
kind of. He was one of the first.
Joel Bushbaum was one of the best.
Joel Bushbaum was a scout, though. Mel Kiper is the first one to just sort of do it as like a hobby.
But
on his
Bushbaum
own.
had his own book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was a scout. He was actually in the NFL.
Yeah.
I heard an interesting thing about Mel Kiper.
Bill loved Joel Bushbaum.
Oh, I know he did.
Bill, Joel, because of that, he used to talk to us. Until he didn't anymore.
I saw some footage of like early Mel Kiper. I forget what I was watching, but and somebody was talking about how you cover the draft. And I thought it was really interesting because of all of our processes that there are talent evaluators and then there are information gatherers. And I feel like Evan leans hard into talent evaluation. He watches the players and he whereas, and I do a dabble in that, but I'd say I'm more of an information gatherer. I like to look at different people. I find traits that I like or guys that maybe have some keywords that this is the kind of guy you might be. Now I watch him a little bit, but that was an interesting way to kind of look at it. And they were saying, Mel Kiper initially more of an information gatherer.
Yeah.
Because back then there was no internet, and it's a guy who's talking to everybody and getting the opinion rather than, there's a couple different ways to kind of approach it.
But to me, like, if you're not watching him play, then you're not scouting.
I think
because if you're relying on other people's words, whether they're written or verbal, that's too subjective. You have to see it with your eyes.
Yeah, and I understand that some people might think that I don't have the expertise or they don't have the expertise to be able to watch it and give an opinion, but I do. That's how I do it. And like my rankings, that I put together that we publish, like I'm not always right in terms of predicting the draft in the order that the players come off the board, but like I'm actually kind of more interested to see if I'm going to be right in 2 to 3 years than being right. Like, oh, this guy went in the 3rd round and Evan had him in the 7th round. Like, well, maybe they overdrafted him.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be a good football player, and he ended up being a good football player.
Yeah, or bad. Definitely plenty of on the other direction too. But I would say Barth, like, it does more trying to predict what the league is going to do. He's more.
It's more of a game.
He's more of the information gathering side, where he wants to get it right in terms of projecting where the league is going to draft the players.
I agree with you. I would rather just try to see if I can identify what's going to be a good player. Like I remember just like the individual players that come around. I was like, oh, I really liked that guy. Like Randall Cobb was a guy that like back. I was like, oh, I really like the way that guy is. And like the first game he played for Green Bay, I think he had like 2 touchdowns. I was like, bang! I was psyched because like this is a guy that not like a top 5 pick. This is like day 2 kind of guy. That guy's got some skills. He can play. He can do some things in the slot and whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I would be more interested in if I was doing it as a hobby. Like like Fred says, Bushbaum. I'm actually looking up his thing here. You're kind of right, Fred. I was wrong. He never really had a job in the NFL. He worked for Pro Football Weekly.
Right.
And was kind of a draft guy. So he was different than Mel Kiper in that he actually worked. And Kiper kind of just did it on his own, but neither of them was ever an actual scout and worked. I thought he was more Gil Brandt, Bushbaum, but he wasn't. He was like the editor of Pro Football Weekly.
I got somebody mad here who really liked Joe Bushbaum. I said he lives in the basement of his mother's house. That was the wrong thing to say.
No.
Yeah. Pro Football Weekly was a pretty good rag back in the day.
Was that little one? There was always a football magazine that was like 3/4 size.
Yeah.
It was. I remember that one.
And actually, he had the best one.
And Patriots Football Weekly.
Yeah.
The font is kind of stolen from Pro Football Weekly. I wanted it to look like that so people would have that feeling. When they read it.
That's funny. I remember that little. It's a pamphlet.
And then Pro Football Weekly had a show that sometimes you could watch on Saturday night at 11:30 if you were a loser. And
I think that's still on.
Pro Football Weekly.
Yeah, with like Hub Arkush.
Yeah.
And there's one of the former Chicago Bears, I think, is on. I think Wannstedt is on it.
Oh yeah,
Dave Wannstedt.
Yeah. Let's go to the phones. Randy's in Providence. What's up, Randy?
Hey guys, how's it going today?
Hey, Randy.
First off, I just want to say I love Gabe Akis as a pick. Like he's got the size, athleticism, and like at the edge rusher position, production translates from college usually. I just really feel good about that pick. I want to ask you guys about these upcoming picks here. We still need a guard. What do you guys think about Jaden Roberts or Inez Cooper? And then, like, also on the offensive line, do you really think that the team is like so stuck on proving Will Campbell's a left tackle, not a right tackle or anything else, that they wouldn't consider switching him? Because, look, it just, philosophically, the guy who's a really good pass protector but not a great run blocker, usually on the left. The guy who's a mean run blocker but not the best pass protector, usually on the right. So, like, just, for, like, the entirety of the time that I've been watching football, that's basically been true. Why wouldn't they consider a swap ultimately if that's with having drafted Lomu.
Listen,
I think he is a great pass protector.
I would hope in a worst case they would consider everything.
Oh, I
don't think
they
they'll
would
be stubborn.
And Elliot Wolf and Mike Vrabel have both said, well, if we can get a better left tackle than Will Campbell, then he'll play.
Right.
But they just didn't feel the reason why, other than putting a vote of confidence behind Will Campbell, is because they didn't feel like they were going to do better than the 4th overall pick in the draft at left tackle. Now, if maybe Lomu ends up being better, but I think that's why, to Randy's question, like why, in terms of the styles and stuff like that. Well, if Will Campbell is just a better player than Lomu, then you're not going to make Will Campbell play out of position, on the right side just to accommodate Lomu. That wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I just don't think they'll be stubborn. I
Me
think
neither.
If they, if they
I'm
watch
probably
these,
more stubborn than them about
if
it.
they watch these guys play for a year and they think one's better than the other, I don't think they're going to say, well, no.
Right.
We're going to play the guy who's inferior.
Yeah.
I think they'll make the move.
Yeah, I think you somewhat throw the needs out at this point. I mean, a little bit, but it's more who do you like? Who do you think has some kind of chance to find a role on this team? Not, hey, we really need a guard. We don't love this guy. Doesn't really fit, but let's just take him anyway. At this point, these guys are long shots anyway.
Yep. So we're closing in. Looks like the Jets are on the clock.
About 3 or 4 picks away.
Yep. Then Bengals and Saints, then Patriots at 191.
Yeah, Jets pick is in, so we're
Moving right along.
Almost there.
So
Pistons lost again.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Red Sox won today.
17-1, Freddie.
There we go.
Oh, see, they came back. They're like, you know what? No more of this.
Showing high.
We're back. How did Roman Holiday do?
He's sad again.
He's sad again.
As Jim Murray would call him, Roman Garoppolo took the day off.
Roman Tony, I call him.
Oh, why is he injury issues?
He's missed like 4 games.
Yeah, he's had a back thing.
With a back.
And last year, was it like oblique or something like that?
Yeah, he had an oblique.
The oblique.
Yeah. No, I watched the end of the Celtics game last night. Had it recorded, and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I mean, they probably shouldn't be in a game that's that close against the Sixers in the first round of the playoffs, to be honest. But they closed that game out. They took over the game.
Big 3 by actually a big pull up by Jaylen Brown to make it a 2-score game, and then a dagger 3 by Tatum to end it. Dagger.
Was he alpha enough for people on that one? Pound in the chest, like did he show enough?
Didn't
of
really
that?
like the whole look at the hand thing.
Yeah, that's his silly.
Yeah, I don't.
It's
not.
Like, oh my God,
Mike,
is
it's
that
not
me?
sexy.
What's wrong with my hand?
It is not sexy.
Chad's in Los Angeles. Hey, Chad.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Hey,
Good.
Chad.
Meh.
Good. Hey, just about the signal. When I use the app, I have a very clear signal, but when I just called you guys sound like you're still working on Netscape.
So when you hear us on a call,
I think that's fatigue.
yeah.
Yeah, you're. I mean, you sound very like digitized, guttural. But let me ask my question, then I'll get off the call, and just if that's helpful for you guys' tech support purposes, I don't know. But okay, so here's my question. The guy that just called a little while ago, he was talking about Will Campbell and how dedicated we are, or not to him. And it made me kind of reflect on last year a little bit. And, we obviously we made it to the Super Bowl. That's awesome. But, we kind of beat up on the weaker guys because of our schedule. And then when we got to the tougher teams, our productivity really dropped down. So this year is going to be a lot harder, and it kind of made me think about that Will Campbell thing. Like, do you guys really think that we are, really dedicated to him as our left tackle and that he's going to have the jump that we need? And how much do you think we're improving so far? And I guess on that note, let's pretend we have A.J. Brown, I guess.
Yep. Okay.
Well, I mean,
all right. So
how get off the call? I'm going to put you on the clear line.
All right. Thanks, Chad.
I have the issues with your cell phone. How's that sound?
Your cell phone's not too great either. So I guess first, are they that dedicated to
No,
Will
I think
Campbell?
that's the same
they
question
are.
we just answered.
No, I think they're
Well,
dedicated.
I thought, I got you.
But every time they've been asked, they emphatically say that
Right,
Will's
and
our
they make
left
sure
tackle.
to work
So
it
I don't know
in.
what else you can do without playing
Right.
and
Will-
showing it. But at this time of year, you just keep saying he's our left tackle.
Yeah, and He said Lomu said that Will Campbell was the first person to text him. So clearly, Will Campbell was right on the cutting edge of that decision and had his number and was ready to go right away. So, yeah, but I don't think that they're going to be stupid and they're going to be stubborn about it. But to Paul's point that he made at the top of the first show, that look, you've got an athletic kid that I don't know. Will Campbell might just get hurt. Like he might just get hurt. Like, and you're going to need an athletic tackle. So. You know, there's that factor too.
It's too bad Will Campbell got hurt.
So I will say this.
At least we could have done this on like an even playing field.
Right. And I'm going to apologize because now all of a sudden we're getting a lot of calls on it because of that email that started this, and I didn't like. I think it's a non-factor today. I don't think it's really much. Every time that Vrabel and Elliott Wolf have been asked about it, it's emphatic. He's the left tackle. Evan might be right. That might be a vote of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
But I would be stunned if we go to OTAs in a couple of weeks and they line up for any kind of a formation and Will Campbell's not the left tackle.
Yeah.
It would be flat out stunning to see that. When they play this year, if it doesn't go well, and then we can have these conversations.
Yeah.
But right now, I think it is premature to back Evan's side. I'm not backing off of our conversation, but to your side of it, right now, it's not, I don't think, worth talking
And that's all
about
I was trying to say, too, is that
length.
it feels a little bit premature to be...
I think we're going to have a trade
Yeah,
coming up.
I think they traded out of the pick.
Oh, the Patriots?
Yeah, they traded out.
Oh, that's not what we're looking for. That's
Yeah.
adding picks.
Not far, though. Not far.
And now they're going to have
it's going to be
back-to-back
before
picks,
their next pick. So.
basically.
So I did see the Jets took that guard that someone just
Inez
suggested.
Cooper. Yep.
Inez Cooper.
Yeah.
Bigger guard, another like nasty road grading type of guard.
Glass eater.
Glass eater.
Got a lot
We
of
talked
sand-
a lot about
got a
glass
lot of
eaters
sand
this
in his
week.
You know what's
pants.
weird about sometimes though with those guys, Fred, is like he played really high. So even though he was like, you could tell that he was big.
It's legal now, though.
He was big and he played a lot with a lot of raw power. Like a lot of those guys don't create as much movement because of their pad level. You know, we were talking about wrestling and leverage yesterday. They just aren't getting underneath guys and pushing them back. Paul's upset because we just added more picks. It's okay, Paul. It's okay. Alex Jules will write them.
This is the prototypical.
You're not doing Lomu.
What do you mean?
This is the prototypical Belichick trade, just for the sake of trading.
Okay. Can we just tell the trade now because we've been talking about it nonstop?
Yeah, it's 191 for 196 and 245. Be the picks. Get ready.
So we gave up 191.
So yeah, we just did going down to 196. So I think they have 196 and 198 now. So I think that would be with Tennessee, I believe, or Jaguars. Yeah. And then they'll have 245 and 247 as well. So now they have 5 more picks.
They have 5 more?
3
picks?
6th rounds and 2 7th rounders.
Oh, yeah.
You got 196, 198, 212, 245, and 247.
Okay, so we'll hang out until 196 and 198.
Yeah. They're coming up quick.
See what's going to go on. A lot of emails coming in. The most interesting Patriots fan in the world says, if furniture is inanimate objects that are easily moved, as Deuce indicated, I'm still taking Will Campbell first in the furniture draft. Oh.
Does the chair have long enough arms for you, though? Is that...
Yeah.
What a tremendous draft.
Robert
Just
writes
ruined.
in, I have 100% lied to my family, friends, and employers to stay home and watch the draft. Now I do house chores with my earbuds in because I have you all watching it for me.
Oh, there you go. I don't know. Did you guys ever, any other reason you skipped school? I remember I skipped school once when I was like in elementary school because it was my little sister's birthday and she was having like a party. She was like 4 years old and I wanted to hang out for cake. So I was, I don't feel so good, Mom.
That's a real fat kid.
Yeah. Let's see. Tim writes in. He said, Fred, be patient with me. Who would you rather pick? A 6'2", 194-pound quarterback who ran a 4.45 40-yard dash and played in the Big 12 and SEC, or a 6'1", 192 cornerback safety who ran a 4.27 and played in the college in the CFB, in the Big Ten,
you can't
and Notre
do this
Dame.
on day 3.
I have no idea. This is obviously 2 people that exist and
Right.
like where he
No,
wants.
but you're giving me nothing about players. Like,
Yeah.
I can give you a guy who walks down the street and has those measurables. Has he ever played a down of football in his life? I don't know who we're talking about.
The first one played in the Big 12 in the SEC.
No, but I don't. Did he play well?
I don't know.
He just played.
How do you know if he's any good?
Yeah.
Now, chances are these two guys that he's profiling here, Evan's the only one who knows them. So I
don't have names.
He started blasting numbers out, and my brain went.
If you give me the names, I won't know them, so I can't give you an opinion.
Well, the
anyway.
first one, the 6'2", 195 cornerback who ran a 4.45 and played in the Big 12 and SEC is Karen Prunty.
He did not play in the SEC. He was briefly supposed to go to, I think, South Carolina, but he didn't actually play.
The 6'1", 192 cornerback / safety who ran a 4.27 and played in the CFB and the Big Ten and Notre Dame was Lorenzo Styles from Ohio State, who went to the Saints after our pick.
Yeah, Prunty, I believe, was committed to transfer to South Carolina, never made it to South Carolina, ended up going to Kansas instead, and then made his way to Wake Forest eventually. But there's no doubt that Styles, his brother, went 7th overall in the draft, Sonny Styles. There's no doubt that people were talking about that player a lot more than Prunty.
It's my running back receiver, Josh Cameron. That was another one I gave.
He's a fun player.
He's fun. It's just as I said to Paul, it's like sometimes you just see a guy who's kind of different and weird, and that was definitely Josh Cameron.
Yeah, I remember.
Didn't really see a total fit for him, but I don't know. I just kind of
just one of those guys that makes plays.
Yeah.
And
kind of runs hard.
Good college player.
Yeah.
Let's see. Bruno says, I just had a brief but very insightful exchange with ChatGPT. The extremely short version of the reason for round 5 being the least valuable is that teams take a conservative approach, drafting for roster depth instead of taking flyers when the math says they should be doing otherwise. And they do this because general perception is that a round 5 failure is a bust, not a bet that didn't pay. And of course, this leads to media criticism, fans booing, and jobs loss.
I can see that. Like if you somehow like a 5th round is high enough that like your 5th round pick should make the team.
Yeah.
Whereas like the 6th or 7th round, they're just flyers anyway. They don't make it.
He has the whole conversation, but I don't want to get into it.
I mean, I think there could be some validity to that.
I was wondering if maybe to that point, like we were talking about earlier, Kayshon Boutte ends up going in the 6th round because of his ankle and because of what turns out some legal trouble off the field at LSU. Maybe the 5th round, people feel like it's too early to take on some of that risk, but then all of a sudden you get to the end of the draft and that's when you are willing to take on a risk like that. And it's not a lack of talent that those players fell. It's off the field issues why those players fell or injuries. So there's a couple of guys that are still on the board that we knew ahead of time had some skeletons and some issues.
That Xavier Harris guy, he's
things like that. So maybe that's why we're here. Garrett Nessmeyer had like the back thing. He had the cyst on his back,
on his spine or something.
So Jack Hendricks is still available.
He is, and that's another one. I don't know. I wasn't aware that Jack Hendricks had any sort of injury or medical flags or anything like that, but clearly. He does because, he was supposed to be like a 4th or 5th round pick and he's still available.
Mark in Lakeland, Florida wants to know how we stand on the back of the envelope guys. Have the Patriots taken any of them? No. So far, Kobe Young, Tanner Koziol, and Jude Bowery have been taken, but there's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that
That's your 7th round's your time to shine.
Nolan Rucci is the guy that I think will end up being a Patriot.
Nolan, because Todd Rucci.
Yeah. I think he'll end up being a Patriot.
Getting invited. We love that.
So they're going to make 9 picks, right? If they don't.
Yes.
They started with 11, Paul.
I know, and I got all excited.
Still pretty
George
good.
is getting upset.
I wonder if and listen, it's not my board, but if I was wouldn't you just at this point of the draft just start throwing some darts at some of these off the field stuff, you have to be comfortable with that. But if it's injury related or, if Dante Corleone has like the blood clot thing popped up in medical rechecks or something, what do you got to lose? If the guy's health pans out and he's going to be a good player, he's going to be better than most 6th round picks.
Jeremy writes in, we have some time to kill before the picks. we probably all agree that wide receiver 1 is A.J. Brown, wide receiver 2 is Romeo Dobbs. Would you agree with that?
Where's his wide receiver 2.5?
So if you were the GM or the wide receiver coach, who would you be banking on as your starting WR 3, 4, and 5?
Well, I think Matt Collins is going to have a role. I mean, I don't think you necessarily qualify him as like wide receiver 4, but I think that's kind of what he is, like wide receiver 4 or 5, but a good one. You know, a guy that can contribute, that has a chemistry with Drake. Saw him make some big plays. I mean, you know, Super Bowl touchdown. After that, I'm hoping for Kyle Williams, and then we'll see how it goes out with Booty.
But you've really got 3 for 4 there. You've got Kyle Williams, Booty, Pop Douglas, and Hollins. Those are your 4 left, right?
Yep.
You know, for all intents and purposes.
So you're bringing an extra guy in, so somebody's out. Somebody's out. I mean, right now it would point probably towards Pop, I think, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think you ideally, to answer the question, like you'd hope that Kyle Williams is the wide receiver 3.
Right.
That's the ideal situation. Realistically, just looking how comfortable they were with each other last year, Matt Collins probably has the best chance.
I'd be really surprised if Mike is wrong and Matt Collins doesn't have a significant role. Because of that.
I do wonder, you know, maybe he's more of like, you know, Paul, you were talking earlier about he's kind of like a slot tight end type of player. Maybe that's the role.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to play X. Obviously, A.J. Brown is going to play X.
Right.
So,
I worry where Booty winds up. Right. Because he kind of filled that role last year. And again, we talked about all the trade rumors, you know, about him leading into the draft. Does he end up staying?
I mean, there's your thing too, Paul, I mean, Matt Collins has had some stops, and he's kind of been the same player every place, and it just seems like all of a sudden it kind of runs their course and teams move on. Doesn't seem like that's the direction it's headed, but you know, I'll be interested to see what happens if Kyle Williams doesn't really progress, and you know, because he's going to be in a situation where he needs to show something.
I just wonder with Kyle Williams, when you think of, you know, A.J. Brown at this stage of his career, Romeo Dobbs, neither burners, I would say. You know, A.J. Brown's winning with physicality. You know, Romeo Dobbs is winning with like craftiness and, you know, sort of consistency, steadiness. At least for Kyle Williams, like the path is that you're the one like that can really stretch the field with your speed. You know, Matt Collins has sneaky speed, you know, but I don't know if that's truly like, you know, this is a different dimension. Kyle Williams kind of brings a little bit of a different dimension. And obviously more size than Pop, you know, who has speed too. So if I was Kyle Williams, like that would be the best case scenario to me, is like, you know, I'm kind of complimentary to these two guys, and maybe that's what they're thinking. I don't know how much eggs they're putting in Kyle Williams's basket, but maybe they're thinking, you know, A.J. Brown's going to win with, you know, physicality, and he's going to win the ball, and you know, Dobbs going to win with his route running, and we got our burner.
I do have to apologize. They said they have 4 players for 3 positions. It's really 5 players. I left out Efton Chisholm.
I'm glad that you corrected that, because you know what, Paul, you should at least bring him up.
Yes.
Like he deserves to be brought up.
Yep. Wow, he should be in the mix. I mean, year 2, get stronger, small school kid, you know. Come in.
Eddie's in New York. What's up, Eddie?
I thought we were improving the roster. I was trying to win titles. Sorry.
Eddie, you there?
Yes.
What's
Hi,
up?
how's it going? First time caller. Love you guys' show.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the offensive line. Do you think the Patriots have done enough to address the offensive line, or not enough where the remaining picks should go there? Because I'm the one to think that if you protect the quarterback, any wide receiver could get open. I just want to get your take on that.
Have they done enough to address the offensive line?
I'd take a guard. Yes. Yeah, I'd take add a guard here. I mean, I don't think
is it going to work? I don't know, but I think they've addressed it.
I mean, Elijah Veritucker and Caleb Lomu. I mean, Veritucker's one of your bigger free agent signings. Lomu's your first round pick. I mean,
that's coming on the heels of taking a tackle with the 4th overall pick. I mean,
I don't know how much more you can do.
There's always more things you could do, but they had a 1st and a 3rd round pick last year that are starting. They had a 1st round pick this year that, at the very least, is going to provide depth. You, as Evan said, one of your top free agent signings was a starting guard. Last year, you also signed a starter at tackle in free agency in Morgan Moses. Everybody tells me that there's no lineman in the league, but yet the Patriots are thin at the offensive line because they don't have a 7th or 8th option. And this is not directed at the caller. This is kind of what's going on around here. Like a lot of offensive line. I mean, they got to do something about that offensive line. Like, how much more can you do?
You just have to
that's what I was saying yesterday.
the talent correctly.
You can't complain about it. They do stuff, and then, they shouldn't have taken linemen. Well, you've been saying.
No, I don't think anybody's saying they shouldn't have taken linemen. I think people are wondering, did they take enough linemen? And I don't know how many you can take.
Right.
Like the Chargers were like 6, 7 deep at tackle last year, and they still found a way to get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we saw that they had no shot when they got there because of that, but that's kind of uncommonly bad luck.
Yeah.
What they went through with the tackle position last year.
Yeah, and they've had a good draft solidifying that. One of the guys we liked, I think they grabbed, was it Travis Burke? I think maybe.
Yeah, the Chargers did.
Played some
But
tackle,
you know what I'm
played some
saying?
inside.
Like everybody says there aren't enough tackles in the league.
Yeah.
And the Patriots have a problem because they don't have a third or fourth tackle.
Yeah.
Do you know? Like, I just don't know what else you can do.
No, it's like all of this right now. It's like, well, they don't have a third linebacker. They don't have a fifth cornerback.
So these are good
the
problems
caller
to
wanted
have.
an offensive lineman, and
did
the
they take a
Patriots
guard?
have drafted an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
The Patriots drafted Demetrius Cronover from Texas A&M. So really interesting player. He was like, when I started the process back in February, everybody thought that he was going to be like a top 100 pick. I don't know why he fell out of the draft this far. Then the Beast came out, and Dane had him, around this range as well. A big, powerful right tackle. This is a pure right tackle prospect. He played right tackle at Texas A&M, but big hands, lots of raw power to his game. Kind of that prototypical right side of the line type of player. But he's 6'7", 319 pounds. You ready for this one, Deuce?
Give it to me.
35 and 3/8 inch arms.
Oh, that's too
my
long.
God, he's
That's
a
too
gorilla.
long.
35 and 3/8 inch arms on this guy. So extremely long arms. Locks him out. Really heavy cinder block for hands. But he's got some development to do. Another guy that has a lot of development to do, and I think a lot of people were worried about some of that type of stuff. But from a raw ball of clay standpoint, in terms of measurables, length, power, play strength, he's got that foundation to potentially stick in the league.
Do you think they're going to maybe just take some of his arms off and give it to other members of the offensive line? Is that
it's possible?
You could take a half inch off.
So
of
with
it.
Marcus Bryant, is he long for this
Well,
team?
I mean, I think it's I think this guy probably a little bit more of a ceiling than you might expect with Marcus
100%.
Bryant, but similar size. I mean, another giant.
Yeah, I had him at 41st on my big board.
Nice, good win for you, Adam.
I
pulled that one out
because when originally, like I said, when we started this back in February, this was one of those guys that was going to be in their sweet spot in the third or fourth
I
round.
think they might have looked at your board.
Maybe at 95, 125, 131, like all the early mocks had Cronover as like, well, if you don't take tackle in the first round, then maybe we'll take him in the middle rounds. And this was the guy, when this all started. I'll have to do some digging and find out why, that didn't come out once the grade came out for the teams at the end of the draft. But, I compared him to Cam Robinson. I think that he's got that kind of physicality and that kind of power to him. But the arms is obviously what stands out. I mean, this guy's got over 35-inch arms. So that's like, rare kind of arm length that you don't see every day.
Okay.
Pretty cool.
So that means the Rams are on the clock. They just traded in to the 197th pick. And then it's the Patriots again at 198. So we've got another big pick coming up. While we're waiting, we'll go back to the phones. And it is Neil in Warwick. What's up, Neil?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey.
Hey, Neil.
Hey, so I haven't called in a while. It's been a long time since I've called in. But
gotta be us.
So I was thinking, I'm an Ohio State fan, and I really wish we took Max Clare last night, but we did get a tight end, so I know Claire over in England is happy right now. But the other thing, I'm surprised nobody has taken Caden Curry from Ohio State. I mean, I think he'd be a great fit here. He can learn on who do we have for defensive ends? I'm losing my mind. I'm tired. I got a baby, so. But besides that, I think they should draft Caden Curry. I mean, Vrabel was a defensive end at Ohio State and then turned into a linebacker. So I think they can transform him. So I think it would be a pretty good pick.
All right. Thanks, Neil. Matt Morrell, we got to look into why our phone's beeping on our end. It's definitely us, not them.
We got call waiting. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. So any reaction to the call?
Well, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm still on Crownover. It's just, is this I mean, they drafted another big, long right tackle. Is he going into guard? I mean,
Paul's giving eyeball emojis.
I mean, Paul's just talking about we don't have enough tackles. I mean, right now you have, by my count, I know some of them are bumps, but you have 8 tackles. You know, including some of the practice squad guys from last year.
We'll
Sebastian
figure it out in
Gutierrez,
camp.
Lawrence, Matt, Marcus Bryant from last year.
Yeah, I think they're trying to add some depth. This is where you get. I was told you I'll be stunned if they don't take some offensive linemen in day 3. I would have thought probably a guard. Maybe we'll get a guard now. But I'm not overly surprised about a tackle. And Evan had one that was on his radar.
Yeah,
so get taken. So it can't be too much of a surprise.
No, I'm pretty excited about this pick because I thought that he was going to go much higher.
Because
than
you
this.
had him on your board.
No, I mean like they
You should be excited.
they picked him at 196, and you know I just looking at the consensus board when I published my big board, the consensus ranking for him was 103, and they drafted him at 196.
Good value.
Elliot will talk after the draft. Maybe there's more to the story that we don't know about why he fell 90-something picks off of consensus. But the one thing I would say is like when I watched him, I didn't really feel like guard was in his future. He actually played tight end early on and then put on weight and then became a tackle. So he's already kind of moved one spot over already. So I didn't watch him and think, you know, that he had like, he doesn't play like a guard. He plays a little bit more upright. His like leverage is a little bit more higher cut. So like I didn't really see him as someone that could play guard, but I did see him as like a classic McDaniels right tackle. And McDaniels historically has had the Marcus Cannons, like that kind of right tackle that was just like a
Trent
road
Brown.
grading type of player. And that's like what this guy sort of reminded me of. So I think that this is pretty solid pick here. This is what I wanted them to do in this round. Was like all these guys that have fallen through the cracks for whatever reason, just take some darts, you know, throw some darts on some of these guys, and hopefully some of them work out. I think they traded out again.
Yeah, they
now.
did. They
Trade now.
traded with the Vikings.
And that's going to be until 2:34.
All right. Well, so that means we should probably wrap things up so you guys can get to work.
Hey, we didn't add a pick though.
We did not.
We added a pick for next year.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to need that next year.
It's
I don't care.
It's a
As long as
6.
it's not today.
All right. Okay. That's it.
That's it.
It's been a good
The draft,
weekend.
2026.
It's been a great weekend. Patriots are continuing to add a couple players. We'll have all of that on Patriots.com and our other platforms. Elliot Wolf will be speaking live on Patriots.com at the end of the 7th round. So we'll get his explanation for what he did. We'll have stuff from the draft room, calls to the players. The players will have their press conference. So there's a lot of content that'll still to come on Patriots.com later this afternoon and tonight. So stick with us. We'll be back on Tuesday, Patriots Unfiltered, to have had time to digest everything, and we'll get into it then. But for now, for Deuce, for Evan, for Paul, myself, Matt Morrell in the booth, and everybody behind the scenes, thank you for sticking with us all weekend. It's been a fun draft. There wasn't a lot of quarterbacks involved this year, but I think it was an interesting draft and one we might be talking about for a few years to come.
Yeah.
If it works out for the Patriots.
Sure. And 4 6-round picks next year, so get ready for that.
All right.
Paul can't wait.
Have a good rest of your weekend.
Hey, this is Deuce. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you really want to help us, make sure you like us wherever you get your podcasts, like Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, make sure you follow us on the New England Patriots YouTube channel to see this show and everything else that we do here at the Patriots. Thanks a lot.